Meow, 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 meow. Ah, we still haven't. That's fine. We'll wait. Oh, there we go. Heads off. Meow, 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 meow. Oh, I think this should be enough for the song. Oh. Meow, meow, hi. Oh, I was meant to hide. Shit. Hello. Oh. Hi, acid eye, red eye, fancy. Oh, they have some new camera settings. Oh yeah, there's a drone. I don't have VR Chat Plus, by the way. We don't have drone chat. I'm sad. There's no drone for us. I know Goods has it. I'm gonna have to try it on. Maybe it's fun. I don't know. We'll see. Hi, Fiery School. Hi, Wire. Fuck you. Hi, Coffee. How are you guys doing? This has been an interesting week. I feel like I haven't streamed for like so long. It's weird. I don't know. I may add an extra day after I move and whatever, because I know I feel like it's so much time between like things and I just forget about everything. Lots of work, you're in agony. Same, man. My room is a mess. I can't even move. Like I can't move around. Like even worse. Cat hang walk. Fight me. Not like this. Whatever. Box life. No box life. Bag life. I got... So, okay, I'll explain. Rollerblading later. Oh, nice. I'm gonna drive. It's gonna take me 5 days. So, I'm just gonna fill my car. I bought 2 big bags. 1 small bag for the daily clothes. Technology bag. VR bag. I'm just gonna shove everything in my car and piss off for like 5 days. If you don't hear from me for like a day, assume I died. I just died. I crashed into someone. I don't know. Just assume I'm fucking gone. Okay. Hi Blackbird, how you be? How you be? Yippee yippee. If I die, Wyron's has to stream for me for the next 2 years at least. Yeah, leave me your stream key. I could honestly. Okay, so thank you, Mars. We're gonna see. It's like I got a really good job offer, and I'm gonna try, and we'll see, man. If anything goes wrong, I'll just come back down. Like it's whatever. If you don't, I was thinking like if you don't risk it, no one's gonna do it for you. You know. So fuck it. I'm gonna try. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. Who cares? We can come back. It's not a big deal. Like, it's not a big deal, honestly. Like, yeah, it's gonna suck, but whatever. It's fine. Be fine. Yeah, if any of you know me, by the way, like, friends, and if you have me added, if you wanna join, feel free. I'll accept more people today just so you can, you know, I'm gonna be away for just a week. It's not that much, but if you wanna come wish luck and, like, play something and vibe around and harass Bully Kevin or something, it's gonna be fun. I want to match the settings. There's like a smooth strength. What is this? Oh. Wait, what if I put like... Oh, that's slow. Do we have like a door effect? You know what, the creaky door? Like... Oh... Where's the offset? There's an offset too. Oh, you can make it track on the side. Oh, that's so cool. I have been fucking wanting this for ages. You have no idea. I also just noticed I have my overlay off. You guys are nasty. Nobody tells me. There we go. I've been wanting the horizontal thing forever. Wait, hold on. Fuck. Door closed. Without chat, it's so clean. I know it's clean, but I like having chat, so I should have horizontal offset, like minus 8. Look at that! I'm on the side! That is so cool, and it still tracks! Oh, I love the new camera. This is so fucking good. There we go, Kira. Love Juice, you better get your ass in here right now. I'm waiting for you. Put Kira at the side. He's a side character. He's off camera, so... Why are you so small? I'm thinking I need a shower. Oh, I dropped something. What is that? I stepped on something. Hello? Nah, it's fine. It's fine. Whatever.
Not me.
Just come here. I'll sniff you. It's fine. Oh, I love this. I love the offset. Look at me. I'm off frame. Whoa. Whoa. Off frame. Whoa. Look at that chat. You guys are like centered with me now. Pog. Don't trash Gucha. I clean when I go there. I clean. I make food. I walk the dog and she sleeps, okay? So, don't tell me what to do. I'm a very nice person, okay?
Yeah.
Fuck you, you hate LJ. I don't hate LJ. I let him touch people. That's just, how do I hate? I know this sounds weird, but like you shut up. You are gay. No, hi Zent. Oh fuck, Kevin wants to come. Ah, yeah. We gotta engage bully mode. We gotta engage bully mode now. Does Kerry have a pussy? Does Kerry? Fuck, Kevin has a pussy. Does Kevin have a cat? A cat, like the avatar. Fuck, it's not what I meant the avatar. I meant the avatar, man. Please don't clip this. TOS. I need a point emote, man. I need a point emote to go like. Don't show it to Rylot. Yeah, we can't show Kevin's pussy to Rylot because he's gonna freak the fuck out. Look at this smoothness thing. I like this. Oh. Oh. This will be cool for an exercise stream. Or like. I don't think it does horizontally. I broke it. Oh no, it's too much strength. ERP will be smooth. I know. God damn it. I hate this. You have a drone now. I need to show this. Hi, Crimson. I need to show this. You have a drone. And it makes so much noise. It's so fucking cool. I think Kevin... I think Kira has VRChat Plus. I don't know. We have to young someone of VRChat Plus. Oh. Oh. Oh god. Scared the fuck out of me. They have VRChat Plus. Can you do the drone thingies? I want to annoy chat. Can you like look at this? Look at this. I'm gonna stop the. So VRChat now has a drone camera, and what is he? Look. You can head pet him. He wags. Wait, look. No, come back. No, stop. Hey, whoa, whoa. Calm down. Hold on. Look, you can head pet him, and he wags. That's so cute. What? Jesus. I want to get a world full of like 50 people with VRChat Plus and make them all go around. Just it's so annoying. I love it. You can disable the sound, by the way. You have a sound thing. You just put it down and it's gone. Look at the kid. Look at that. Kevin, come here. Come here.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. Come over here. Come over here to the side, because this camera is on the side now. It's fancy. Come over here. Come over here. Come over here. Come, just step over Kira. Just like step over Kira. It's fine. There we go. So, hold on, chat's peeing on you.
No comment.
Okay. Anyway, I just noticed you guys are super low. Can you speak now? I think the chat can hear you properly now. Can you say, oh, that's so much better. Chat, you gotta start telling me about my scuff so I can fix it, okay? So, I was wondering if you... I was wondering if you had a Mayo, right? This avatar. So, I just turned to my camera and I was like, does Kevin have a pussy? I'm like, god damn. You piece of shit. I will fight you. Wow, I fucking do not. That was my bag. Good. My head. Whoa. Whoa.
Oh.
Come over here. Come over here. They were quiet. Oh yeah. Oh, thank you so much for telling me they were quiet. I'm just gonna go into my well, let me put the smoothness, right? Let me just go into my you know, time machine. I can't walk more than this. The joke doesn't work. Whatever, it's fine. Come here. Hello. Hold on, chat. We're being ignored. Just in like a little bit. You done?
Yeah,
You gotta go over here on this side.
No.
This side is forbidden. You gotta go to this side. But chat is over there. You gotta come over here. You're on top of... Wait, no, wait, no, you're on the right chat. No, never mind, I'm stupid. No, yeah. No, you're there. Yeah, yes, never mind. I'm stupid. Yeah. So you stay over there.
Today.
Anyway.
I'm sick, by the way.
Everyone's fucking sick. Everyone's sick.
Yeah.
There's like spring everywhere. I think I'm starting to be pollen allergic, but because like there's pollen everywhere, and I'm like my nose is stuffy 24/7.
Yeah.
I hate this.
You're gonna die here then.
It's worse here.
Allergic.
Do you know how countries work? That's not how it works. Our cars are yellow outside now. Ugh. It is very bad on hot countries at this time of the year. It's like awful. I cleaned my car yesterday. I took it to like a professional cleaning thing, so it's like super nice for the trip, and it's like fuck it already because there's pollen everywhere. It's literally just ruined. At least the interior smells nice, so it's whatever. It's fine. Taking 2 showers today. Bro, I mean like move mode, so like I only have my PC and my headset. I don't even have the index fan. It's everything sucks here. But yeah, anyway, chat, there's not gonna be any stream tomorrow. But Love Juice, are you here? I was gonna do your live heroes with Love Juice, but no. I'm gonna just finish everything and relax. After this stream, I'm gonna just disassemble my whole PC and shove it in a box and pray that it doesn't break. Hello, can I help you?
Wait, what a nice.
Oh yeah! On the left! Subs! Wait, let me show. Oh, I glitched. Goods, you're. I can't use my menu because you're here. You glitched my menu. You glitched my menu.
How?
You were like over the thing. I was gonna stream, but no. Yeah. We're trying to find out if Rel has a pussy or not. We still don't. No, not Relit. Kevin.
Huh?
Sorry, I mixed the names up. I mixed the names up. Listen, they're always together, and Kevin is wearing green, so it's not my fault.
Yeah, it's a question about the olive, yes.
She's a woman. Of course she has a pussy. What do
You
you
don't know.
think?
Yeah, you don't know that. Have you seen it?
As a protector, yes.
I am worried now. Actually, that is very, very not inclusive because you can have a dick too. So, fuck you.
That's called intersex or like hermaphrodite.
Are you forgetting
Fun fact.
something?
Woman. Pretty woman. Pretty woman.
Which is the moment I say something. It's just natural now. I think of you and I just think about like Kevin and now how I should like tell him to go away. Come say hi to Relit. Look at that. Not for the fuck. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You disgust me. You disgust me. You disgust.
It's in my contract. I have to
Oh
do
yeah,
that.
yeah. Sorry, I had you sign a contract, and now she has to ward the camera every time I point at it. It's like a thing. Good, come here. Let's show them the noise. Show the noise. We found out about this. Look.
We watched like Dr. House yesterday and I accidentally touched your nose.
It chirps. I don't know why. Can I? I don't think it works. I can't touch myself. Ah! Stop touching me.
It doesn't work.
You didn't know? No! I know about the ears and the tail. And this. And that's it. Are you guys like all AFK? What is happening? Come on, have some energy. It's Friday night, bro. We gotta zoom around and be like, yeah, there we go. Come here.
You were not. so I'm calling you out. You were not energetic before stream.
Yeah, it's called conserving energy for stream.
No.
We gotta
you
save
were
it.
not.
There you go. See, perfect. Bro, I've watched Doctor House. I don't know, like ages ago, like on the TV. When you guys, remember when we used to watch TV? Like, remember when we used to watch series on the TV and you had to wait? Like, fuck, I gotta wait for tomorrow to see the next thing. God damn. Yeah, I watched it when it was on TV. I'm a boomer now. I used to watch TV. I'm sad.
Boomer.
Shut the you're older than me. Shut up. Don't put your wait, does it does it do the sound? Wait, shh. I don't think it does. The dark times. Honestly, I like the TV times more because you had to wait a week. Like, usually you had to wait a week per episode, and it gave you time to like talk with people and like vibe. And then you could have like a whole series last a year, and then they release another one and never stopped.
Wanna know real good?
You still have
Cartoon
animes
Network.
like that?
When we're kids.
Cartoon Network was fun. Are they still around? Did the Cartoon Network went to shit or not?
I remember sitting in front of the TV on the floor just watching TV. On the floor.
In linear TV. I don't mind not having linear TV, but the problem is it just causes series to have like 2 years of like you finish the series in a week and then you have to wait a year. For example, I'll give an example. Stranger Things. I don't fucking know what happened. I forgot. It's been fucking how long has it been? I don't even know. It's been like 5 years.
I don't mind.
Yeah, but
gonna
like
watch
the
it?
point is you're blocking the camera. The point is I don't care anymore. Tell Kevin the outfit is good. Listen here, you little shit. You stay away from my daughter. Okay, I'll get the shotgun. You are not allowed to. Bang that wall. It's forbidden. Okay. You gotta show me your tax returns. Proof of employment. Where else?
I accidentally slapped my power button when I was
I was like, no, you left. What the fuck? I was like, no, because every time you're still a triangle for me. Are you a triangle? No, okay, just waiting. Every time someone leaves, whoa.
fat.
Yeah, you're not fat. You're thick. It's fine. It's taking close. Are you getting undressed in the background? Are you guys getting naked on the background?
You got camera.
Get that in the view of the camera.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, this avatar is called the Mayu. M-A-Y-O. Or U. Mayu. Actually, I don't remember. Mayu.
You have to cover it in Mario.
Oh, you're an error for me. Let me block your avatar and then unblock it. Usually it
I'm
fixes.
an error.
Yeah, okay, there we go. It fixed.
Aww.
Ayo, Mayo. There we go. Put an M before that and you have the thingy.
Yeah,
Mayo.
that's not the first time I've heard that.
Aw. It's usually the parents, yeah.
I need a command for the avatars.
Oh,
Like,
the
I need a... Okay, sorry. I'm taking my pants off. It's getting too hot. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep trying to stream with pants. It gets too
Complaining
hot.
about us getting naked and then he's taking...
Yeah, but they can't see this one. It's fine.
The point is he needs to make it a point on stream, so that
There
way
we go.
people know
Oh.
he's taking off his pants.
Oh,
He already has
so much
pants off.
better.
He's not going to say anything.
Because, listen, you start the stream, everything's fine, you stream for like 20 minutes and the room is a sauna already, so like I gotta take it off because otherwise I'll die.
The computers got hot.
Computer hot, yeah. I have an AC, I could turn it on, but it's power set. Like, would you rather spend more on electricity or just take your pants up and save money? You can have no pants and save money.
Jackets in the summer.
Yeah, but you're gay, so like it's normal as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing jackets in the summer? Are you stupid?
I don't know, I just always
not.
do it. I am wearing suits.
But outside, I only...
Not right now,
only...
but to work.
We are... I
No
only
pants
alone
and
pants on
save
outside.
money.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was not do that.
Nah.
Whoa. You know, I like this because I can grab it and it's like a pocket, Kevin. I'll just bloop and then you like, you know, Just come on, let's go.
Yabbity dog.
Wow.
It's like portable. You have like a handle thing. You just like grab it. There you go.
I managed to get off work early though,
Oh.
so that was good.
I used to wear like a lot of jackets too in the summer, but then I just like was like, am I stupid? And I stopped. So I just get some shirts. It's fine.
Yeah, like until like 10 years ago, or like. So I had like.
You're
Global
didn't
warming. You
even
can't use
own
jackets
a
anymore.
pullover. Yeah, and until like 10 years ago or a bit longer, I didn't even own pullover or hoodies because I liked cold.
I never, yeah, I have like 2 jackets and I bought them like last year. I never use jackets because I don't need
Yeah,
to.
but in your country it's usually hot, so.
It's
We
like,
do use jackets on winter.
you didn't, no,
Yeah,
you didn't hear
because
me.
he's-
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah, today was like 30 degrees outside. It was fun. It's
I hope
already,
you're
it's
ready for
already,
wind.
it's already getting super hot here. It was like 30.
Yeah, it's-
I was like, my
it's a
poor
bit
tires,
colder
man.
On your side than in his country. Yeah.
Jackets have been
A little bit
banned.
colder, not much. It's not like.
I checked, it's gonna be -3 when I'm arrived there. It's fun.
Or like it's the same temperature. It's just a minus in front of the temperature.
It's not gonna be -30.
It
Fuck
can
off.
like-
On spring, yeah, -30 in April.
20 or something. It's not,
Not
like
now.
-20 or anything.
I wouldn't
or
survive
anything.
that.
Blizzards.
You should come visit. You're like super near.
You'll be locked inside your house.
I'll pick you up on the
or
way. How about that?
anything.
I'm gonna pass by you thing. I'm picking up Kevin on the way. We're gonna just go.
Wow.
I don't think I have space though. Are you okay with like hanging on the roof?
Yeah.
I'll open the windows. You like grab it. I'll put like a string or something, like just around the roof. Like, hi, hi. Do you see here suddenly? Yeah. Yesterday was
Might
like.
be on the way for me for yeah.
I don't know if I can EF actually.
No.
I don't know. We'll see because of the new thingy. I'll talk with them. I don't know. Don't pull mine. I'll slap you.
Because if you go at Gert's place, it's probably nearer. Huh? Is it not closer? I don't know.
I don't know what anyone is. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Oh, I saw someone in chat ask literally like, "Oh, do you live near?" No, I am like 4,000 kilometers away. It's gonna take like 5 days and 1 ferry.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't reject me because I'm gonna import my car and hopefully they don't be like, nah, suck my dick and then just they have to go back. Well, we'll see. I will be fine. I just cheated and I found English speaking jobs. I'm like, whatever. It's easier. Ah, stop pulling my shit.
Chloe!
Huh?
No, they're trying to pull out an osk.
Listen, I will learn when I'm there. My company has courses, okay, for free, so it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Stop! I will grab your gas canister and shove it up your ass if you don't stop touching me.
Nice.
Stop! Oh my! I'm being arrested. I'm being arrested. I'm being arrested. I'm being arrested. I don't like this. I mean, hi.
You're being arrested.
You're so tiny they can't see you. There's a domino here, chat. Say it, just jump. Oh, there we go. That's like you can see the little wave. Perfect. I'll just go forward. There we go. Why is everyone gone? Is it showering again? Are they showering together? Whoa, whoa. Are you guys showering again?
I don't know if it turns on.
You should turn it on over here.
How do you turn
There
it
you go.
on?
You gotta take your clothes off again. I'm sorry. I need drinking
I
water from the
yeah,
shower.
so- Why not? That's a wrong thing.
Do you drink water when you shower? Actually,
Yeah.
I do sometimes.
What?
Yeah, you go like ah, like if you're showering and you just go like ah.
Shower is not 100% filtered, right?
No, it's the same as your tap water.
It depends.
No, it's
actually.
the same. Unless your house is weird.
Hold on. Wait, hold on. Stand still. Stand still.
Oh,
Can I drink the water from my body? There we go.
Oh.
What are you doing? Are you drinking armpit? Are you drinking armpit? What the fuck is wrong
No,
with
it's
you?
right here. No, it's like right here. Right here. Because the water falls down, it runs down. You know how water works?
Do you see how sus that is?
Just
You're
push
sus.
the
You think
boobs
sus of
together so you
everything.
can collect water.
Okay, okay, listen, chat. Excuse
when
me.
water falls, it runs down the shoulders. I was saying from the shoulders.
Yeah, you don't think drinking water from someone's tits is like sus? No, it's totally normal. I'm gonna do that when I'm there. and I'm gonna-
It's shoulders.
Okay, so next time you ask me for Pepsi, I'm gonna go near him like, there we go, and just like pour it and like stretch my hand. You can sip it from my arm.
I was drinking from the shoulders, like right here.
You can't
How is
defend
that
yourself.
tits?
You can't defend.
Do you
I'm
know
sorry.
What tits are? Do you know what tits are? What does tits look like to you?
I am a
What does
visual.
tits
I am
look
a
like to
visual
you?
learner. Explain.
Huh? What does tits look like to you?
Like that.
Come on. Oh, okay, apparently shoulders are tits.
No,
Apparently
this.
this part.
Interesting. Interesting.
Wyrens, can you do a poll asking if this is sus or not, and then we'll let chat decide. How about that? And you have to admit if it's sus if you win. What are you guys doing? Okay, listen. You stop doing. You don't shower like that. Who goes to the? Okay, listen. We all know that showering isn't pretty. You don't shower and you go like, whoa. No, you go like fucking.
Depends on what your mood is. If like, listen. If you're feeling like
I
I
take
don't
my time in
know,
the
like
shower.
good
Listen,
mood.
I'm gonna
honestly.
explain how men shower. Okay, I'm gonna explain how men shower. By the way, get the fuck out of the shower. It's my turn. I'm gonna explain. This is actually universally
I can
too.
explain for you. You
Get the
just
fuck
use
out.
like a soap that's for
Get the fuck
hair
out.
and body,
Yeah.
and you just
Scoot.
yeah.
Scoot. So I'm gonna explain how men
cool.
shower. 99% of the shower is crotch and armpits. That's it. Okay, you put some finger, you go like this,
No wonder men
this,
smell.
this, and then you just do like arm, legs, and whatever, and then the rest is just whatever.
No, he is stinky.
No
He
wonder
thinks that's
men.
normal.
No wonder men smell.
He's stinky.
And you complain about us taking long showers. It means we're technically more cleaner than you, meaning you're stinky right now.
There,
Yeah.
listen,
Smelly.
if you need
stinky.
more showers, technically you're the stinkier one.
No, I have to shower. I have fucking thick ass hair that I struggle to get soap out of.
If you need more showers, it means you're stinkier. I'm sorry, it's just the law.
No.
It says you
No.
take like two.
You just
take
don't.
shower
Evan, you
every
have
day.
a
You're
straw on
always
your crotch. You have a
You
straw on
take-
your
you
mayo.
take sho-
There's a straw there. I couldn't fucking see that. Don't put it in your bed. Go wash it first. Thick air. Yeah, sadly you can't see how Goods looks like because she hates you guys. But
I take
yes,
straw.
I also have thick hair, but mine is shorter.
Part of it.
I had your straw. I am Kira's straw too.
Why are you guys shoving straws in each other and then like can I leave?
It says
It-
you
it-
shower
it's
fucking
just-
every day, and you
You're
said the more
eating
shower you get,
pussy.
the more stinky you are.
Straws.
It's
I don't
just
like this.
symbolic.
And you're a man.
eating
Alright, I'm just gonna be here in the wholesome coffee corner. How's that going?
Listen, he can't have the road.
Coffee?
He knew I
It's
was
too small. I need more.
It says the more
Can you get
shower
like
It is
chantilly
small.
coffee?
you get, he takes showers
Why is the whipped cream
I
black?
tried it to them. Don't ask.
It's fermented whipped cream. It's special.
I can't get the soap out of my hair because of too much thick of hair.
Do you guys close this door? Now you're speaking inside the shower. Stop!
No.
No,
Hear that?
I'm walking in.
Go.
I'm walking in. No.
No.
You know the worst
no,
part?
go,
The worst part
go.
about you is not the shower. I'm gonna expose you to chat. When Goods needs makeup, I just go like, oh, I'm just gonna like watch a movie or something, and then she's gone for
Yeah, I gotta
like
be
5 hours or something, and I'm like,
I need to be good.
I can do like. It's like, oh, we have a thing at 11. I gotta wake up at 3, and then I start doing everything.
Listen. I don't want to look ugly, okay?
You don't look ugly. You're
That's why I do
fine.
my makeup. No.
Mm.
Is it leak? Oh, there's a pull up chat. Vote on the poll. Is oh no, it ended. Okay, so chat decided that the poll was yes. So it is sus to drink water off your shoulders. I'm sorry. You lost. Yeah, go say any last words to chat. You lost. I'm sorry. Go say your defeated words. Come on.
I'm gonna say one thing.
No, just look at the camera. Look at me.
Actually-
Chat decided.
No, I'm looking at you. You said the more shower you take, the more stinking you
That's
are.
not what we're talking about.
No, 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 no,
Oh
no,
my
no, no,
God.
no, don't avoid that. Two things, actually.
What?
You said it says to eat a straw. That's been someone's crotch. Then you said you to that, but you're a man, so you can't say anything.
Well, what? Why? She's being sexist,
You're a
chat.
man. You're,
She's being
you're
sexist.
A straight man.
Since when? Oh.
So you're admitting you're gay?
Okay, I'm leaving. Fuck you. I don't like this door anymore. You guys can buy for the. You guys can. No. Stay there. I don't want you here anymore.
Vi kan
Oh, hi,
vara
sorry.
raffle. Shoulders is not
Det är
safe.
väldigt homofil.
The pulse head so. Hey yo.
Hey, yo. That sounded good. What the fuck? Hey, yo. No. Hi, Reg. They're being weird. I'm sorry. They're being weird.
Says you. You just admitted
I am very weird, I'm sorry.
Ah, you're normal. Don't worry about it. I'm just gonna drink some water.
That's offensive that I'm not weird.
It's like, you're not weird. Like, excuse me. Take that back right now.
Got just yeeted into the wall.
Oh, I was seeing if I could use like a spoon.
Interesting.
I mean, your
There's
girlfriend.
literally
Well-
gay confirmed, caught on camera.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah,
like
but
can you like
showers,
become
right?
coffee beans and just jump inside this so I can grind you? What the fuck?
About about shower.
Just leave
You
it.
said the
I don't
more
want it anymore.
shower- No.
The more shower you take, the more stinky you are. You take shower every day.
Yeah,
I'm surprised your
that's
skin isn't
normal.
Dry because how much you take showers.
I smell like balls if I don't. Like I gotta shower like once a day if I want to go out.
That is you
Yes.
stinky.
So you're stinky.
Really
yeah.
stinky.
So you don't shower.
I do shower.
I shower every second day because I don't stink.
I'm leaving you.
see, you just gotta admit your
I'm closing 2 doors. Oh fuck! I opened a Patreon input. Why is Kevin naked? I don't know, man. Listen,
Why not?
we just have Kevin naked in all streams now, so it's a good. Oh wait, I'm too close. Hold on. It's a good background to have while we do streams. We just sulk. Technically, it's not
Sounds sweet,
naked.
yeah.
Don't fill her naked. Get out.
Okay, damn.
Yo, oh, yo, goodly twatter of shoulders and
Enjoys it way too much.
Listen.
I love the fucking jingle bells.
Listen, this is for the femboy.
Don't worry, if Kevin's ever naked around your I'll just kick you out of the instance. It's fine.
Listen, this is only for
I
the
got you.
femboys and the feminine. So yeah.
Wait, what?
What? I'm locking the door. I'm sorry. There you go.
Ugh. Oh yeah, by the way, chat, this stream is gonna be like 3 hours only because I need to go pick up Sucker from the airport and then I have to. I'm literally gonna get home, disassemble my PC, take off the base stations, wrap it all up, and pray that the thing doesn't break. Like I'm gonna take the motherboard out, I'm gonna take the GPU out, everything's gonna go in their boxes, and then the case has two glasses. Actually, I want your advice. Have you ever packed glass? What's the best way? I have bubble wrap. I'm thinking about just doing like a big bubble wrap cushion, but I was debating. What is happening?
Jesus, blood everywhere.
Wait, what the fuck is happening?
Don't worry about it.
What the fuck is?
She's fine.
Yeah.
Is this what woman calls Shark Week? Hey, what the fuck? You became evil. You're becoming evil. Oh god. How many blankets you got for the glass? I don't have blankets. I have.
No,
Should I use a
kind of
blanket?
weird, but we love him just that way.
Okay,
Now
okay,
I
okay,
have to
okay.
go see you later. Hey.
Alright, serious time, okay? This is gonna be serious. I'm gonna sit for this. Serious time.
It's the toilet with arms and legs and tail.
Serious conversation with Chad. Let's leave the sus.
I had to take a picture.
Why even have the glass? So it's like a 50-50. If it breaks, I'll just not glass. If it doesn't break, it's a free case, right? Just eat the glass. I'm not gonna eat. Just puke it after. I'll just puke after the glass.
Oh yes, the phone's a phone.
So okay, so I got 2 big rolls of bubble wrap, and what are you guys doing? What the fuck is happening here?
I think I'm to a toilet with arms and legs and tail.
Does it open? Wait,
There's
hold
no
on.
toilets.
No.
Wait, hold on, don't move. Wait, Kevin, say
No.
Chat, come on, do that. Wait, get out. Chat, you know what to do. Do the sound. Come on. Get out. I'm not pissing.
He's taking a shit
Get
on
out
the
the
lid.
camera. You guys are covering. The lid doesn't go up. It's fine. Okay, I'm gonna turn. There you go. Is it better now?
No, it's still locked.
Pissing.
They failed, so he just said pissing. Oh, there you go. This is perfect. Not the me. Oh no, the meow was too good. The sound went peace. Meow. Oh god, can you clip this? Fuck me, man. Okay, okay, listen. I am trying to ask how to ship, how to like have glass, tempered glass like shipped safely, and you guys are making me do weird things. Okay, Kevin, get out of the toilet. It's like having children, man. God damn it. But yeah, okay, I never asked you. Are you in there or are you still not? Still moving? Like, how does your thing work?
Sitting in the shower.
As in,
are you in Norway or are you not?
I am not.
Okay, so you're gonna go eventually? I don't remember if we. Okay. You gotta tell us. So you gotta vibe. We gotta go to a place and like not talk to each other and just like stand there and then leave.
Yeah, and
So we
just
feel
to
in the culture.
Eventually get to the point. It's like, hey, I know you, and that's the only words we.
Yeah,
we
we're like
change.
no, we're
That's
just
it.
gonna like
We walk away
we're just
after
gonna
that.
walk by and just go like walk like and then just keep going.
Oh, just
Ready?
a head nod, just like
Yeah, like but up is like. So okay, I was talking to Goods about this. Chat, tell me if this happens in your country. So at least in Portugal, it's like it's not a rule, but it's like unwritten. If you see a friend that you know, a person that you know that you're like close-ish, and you don't want to say hi because you both hurry, you just like up, you know, like we do a what's up. Like you look at them like, oh yeah, what's up? Like you just nod up. If you see a stranger and you just passing by each other. And you know you don't want to say hi. You just do like a down. Like you go like, you know, I don't know why. It's just like intuition here. Like if it's a stranger that it's passing me by on the street, I just go like this, like you know, like saying hi.
I think the U.S. has a pretty similar thing going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's down. But if it's a friend, you go like yeah, like you know, hey, what's up? Like yay. I don't know. It's weird. The US is just fucking
also
speak.
noticed that-
It's weird. They're just like, hey, where's your kids? I'm like, get away from me, please. You're weird. The nod of acknowledge me. I do it in motorcycles. If it's like a normal bike, I do the head. And I usually do like the down thingy. But if it's like a cool bike, I go like, whoa. If it's a friend, I put up a big. No, that's if it's your best friends. You're like.
English or Spanish?
A little bit of Spanish.
Oh shit.
Whoever moves first is gay.
Baby, you got something in your nose. Sniffing that K, did you feel the hole? Hope you find
Sorry, I can't
peace
move.
for yourself.
Oi! It's bad.
And go fill the void.
Supposed to be wholesome. Don't turn into a degenerate too. I need someone wholesome in my life, man. Please. Like. God damn it. You fuck off. Thank you for the raid. Welcome. I'll give raid kisses. There you go. But yeah, remember, I have everything packed. I'm not fully ready yet because tomorrow I pack like everything permanently in the car. Why you no movie? I'm not. Okay, I'm not. It's very, very. I'm awesome though. Domino is okay. Domino is. Yeah, Domino is. I take back what I said, Domino is. Yeah, hi, welcome. Thank you so much for the ride, and I hope you enjoy. We're just vibing today, because I'm gonna like leave my country in like 3 days, so this is the last stream. And I'll come back after the 6th. I don't know when, but that's when everything stops, and I'm like, not dead. Maybe. The end. No, I'm leaving everyone, chat. I'm just gonna disappear. I'm gonna delete the... Fuck you guys, I'm leaving you. Bye. I'm just gonna go up and like no one's gonna find me anymore. I'm joking. Oh. Fuck, we were talking about glass, man. We need to stop doing this. We were talking about glass, okay? Are you able to build a goods daily? I will be. Good Snowy 2.0. I was actually thinking about revamping a lot of things while I'm like doing like the moving. I'm probably gonna see if I can do like sound alerts, like change everything. Who's wee-weeing? Are you guys eating in the bedroom? What are you doing? What are you doing? Goods, you have the wrong microphone. What are you doing?
Yeah.
They're just vibing with straws on the... Oh, the shower's off. Hey, do not close.
It's private.
I know it's private. I'm gonna sit right here. I'm gonna be a wet pussy.
Oh, wow.
There you go. I know what happened to my microphone. It just automatically switched. I was weird.
This looks sus. They look sus all the time. We'll have someone outside. We can leave someone outside. There you go. Wee. I saw. You know what my favorite thing about that cat is the that cat meme, but with that song, like the inspirational words. So the cat's like wee, and then it's just like. Wait, I think I have the song. Hold on, I think I have the song on my liked. Yeah, this song. You're like wee. And then it's just like, we gotta wait for the drop. It just goes like wee. Do you know what I said? Listen. Don't listen to what I say. This song makes everything look inspirational. Chat. All you gotta do is just jump.
I also know a song that makes everything inspirational.
Just head first.
Watching the storm.
Wee. Alright, this is too loud. I cannot think. Jesus. There we go. Search for the wee meme song. It's so fun. The guy like wee, and then wee. Thank you for coming to my Telltale.
The sound is me whenever Snowy falls and traps.
And wait to right and run, but yeah, go, man. What the fuck? What are you doing?
What? I didn't do anything.
Oh my god.
Question: Why is there a
There's a
why do you have a
drone.
drone in the shower?
I don't know what they're doing. They're probably filming like some fancy. They're filming some OnlyFans. Oh, okay, you stole my joke.
Oh, OnlyFans. I see.
You stole my joke. What the fuck? You can't do that. That's illegal. Just second time this happens. I don't like this. Oh, I ride and dip all the time. Don't worry. It's normal. No, but I don't think as long as you say hi, and I don't think anybody's gonna complain about it. Okay, glass. Fucking glass. Okay, let's talk about glass. I have a Lian Li case. Okay, the 11D or whatever the fuck.
Glass.
Oh, thank you. Oh, this, you know? There you go. You guys are inside the glass. Hold on. There you go. I'm gonna put you out on the cup. Anyway, glass, okay? So I have the Lian Li. There's a front panel and a side panel. My plan is I'm gonna take the motherboard out. I'm gonna take the GPU. I'm gonna buy an original box. I'm gonna take the motherboard with the CPU. I'm gonna take the RAM off. I'm gonna wrap the RAM. I'm gonna put the motherboard with the CPU on the box, the motherboard box, because I have the Ryzen, the AM5, and they have the locking mechanism, so it's gonna fall out like the AM4 one, so it's fine. I put the RAM in the box, stuff it. So the case has the radiator, the fans, and the pump. What I'm gonna do. And also the CPU cooler. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stuff the case full of the bubble wrap and like just everything. And then I have two options. I either wrap the glass the 2 panels individually, or I leave them in the case and I wrap the whole case with the glass and filling.
I can just play randomly.
But I feel like if the glass is tightened to the case, maybe has a higher chance of, yeah, because vibrations and whatever. Computer is full of. I'm gonna drain the loop. Let me just take you guys off. I'm gonna drain the glass. I have a new bottle of cooler already. There you go. You can be in frame now.
Not yet, no.
Individually, so case individually, stuff, then things on the side, maybe.
Yeah.
I was thinking, where is the best? Oh, there you go. That.
There it is.
That. Wait. I love that meme. Can you say it again? We weren't listening. What do you mean?
Do you have the box for your case?
No. It would be too much to take. It's massive.
It is. I also have a Leon Lee.
I'm already planning into like I'm taking the case as just because if it breaks I'll buy a new one. Like fuck it. Like it's just a way of saving money if it goes well. If it doesn't, I'll get a new case. That's just how it is.
I'm just saying the only thing you should need to remove is the graphics card.
And put it in the box.
Everything else is usually. Yeah,
I was
the only thing
thinking
that's
to just wrap the glass, wrap the other glass, and just put it like I don't know. It needs to be on a place.
Well, if I remember, if it's the style I think it is, it might use the glass as a form of stability for that one corner.
Yeah, maybe.
So
yeah,
it might
because
be a good idea to just screw in the glass at the top, like when you first got it.
I'm not shipping it, by the way. I'm taking it on my car. I have more control over that. I'm not shipping it anywhere. So I think just wrapping it, it's fine. And then I was thinking it to put. God damn it. But separated, yeah. I was thinking just to separate it and then just put it on top of the case and just like wrapping it and everything. What I may do is I may wrap the glass individually and the case individually and then just wrap them all together like with tape around and just put it on the corner of the car and just make sure like it's tight. Should we, as long as I don't go to like anything like crazy bumps, it should be fine. Like it has a really low chance. If it breaks, I'll just go and buy a case. There'll be more space than case box. I can also just put more stuff inside the case as like a space saving thingy. Like the case is gonna be empty. Cases are cheap, not the Leon Lee ones. They're fucking expensive. I think mine was like 100 and something. It's very expensive because I have a radiator and water cooling and yeah, it's a lot of space. A lot of space. That case is like a square. It's a cube. What is that? I'm having fun ooey-owing in the shower. Oh my god. You goddamn right I am.
We're gonna close the door and let it go to cold out.
Oh my god. Just because you said wee wee, I am turning into a wee wee. Wee wee wee. Wee wee wee. Wee wee?
Is this like one of those cursed avatars?
No, it's my wee wee. Well, not like that. My wee wee.
Oh no!
It's a wee wee.
He's pulling out his wee wee.
I'm naked. Hold on. I gotta get some. I gotta get the jacket, the suit, and the rave. There we go. My wee wee. It's my wee wee. Do you guys like my wee wee? Should sound like every one of you that pull that like the mayor does. I want to like wee 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 wee.
Yeah.
I'm pulling my way. I don't know what Guts is doing. She's just like slowly like dying. Yeah, she's going insane back there. I think the shower has affected her too much. It's been, you know, when you've been showering for too long, it has diluted her brain cells. Yeah. I don't know, man. Don't judge me. Oh. Oh.
Whoa, you're putting your feet on Kevin.
What the fuck are you guys doing? Do I need to check you every 5 minutes so you don't like all fuck in the shower or something?
Yeah. We will try to figure it out.
Why are you sitting on Kevin?
I am
You're being
staring at
sus.
you. I just walked in.
Yeah.
Shh. I'm murdering
There's
you.
nothing going on.
You said that while all wet.
Yeah.
I'm in the shower.
That's what she
of
said.
course.
He's pulling his cock out.
Exactly.
He's pulling his cock out. Miss input. It's a miss input. Oh, chat, do you know what I realized? I was in my bed. I don't know why I realized this. I was in bed yesterday and I was like, so GTA 6 is gonna come this year. Just gonna like put
Is
you in
it?
frame again. Yeah, so GTA 6, is it this year or 2026? I think it's this year, right? Or next year. Anyway, in the
Nothing's
next
official.
in the next 2 years, maybe. It's very high likely.
Irish OnlyFans had like a
Do you guys realize that in the few months after the release, the internet is gonna be unusable? Twitch is gonna be shit. YouTube is gonna be shit. Twitter is gonna be shit. Everything's gonna be like full of like your streaming now playlist on Twitch is gonna be GTA 6 everywhere.
Just all GTA 6.
That is gonna suck. Like that's gonna be awful.
like killing me.
Like
Mind if
I
we
was like,
cuddle?
oh my
Someone
god.
was rude to me. See.
Someone was rude. There we go. You can have some headpats. Are you happy now? That's all you get. You can't get more. I'm sorry. Dark times. Fuck it, Wibal. We all
being gay. Oh my gosh.
we all take time off. Nobody streams. Everyone goes play offline. You have a month to finish the game and then you come back. I'm curious about what they're gonna do with the online because they invested a lot on the 5. They can't just let it.
I don't think that they're gonna have online for the first year.
They have to, unless they double down on 5 or
They
like.
still gotta figure out. They still gotta figure out what they're gonna do for like transferring, because I doubt
I
they're just
don't
gonna make a new
think-
online.
I think they're gonna, because they can't transfer because they want to make money, so they want. Like if you transfer, everyone has their progress. The
Thank
hackers
you.
have the
It means
money.
a lot to me.
So like, yeah, you're welcome, man. I hope your day gets better. I don't know. It's I mean, I'm sure they're having like hard decisions too over there, and like they're making a lot of calculations and maths. But yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I think they're gonna run it in parallel. Online legacy, because like right now we have GTA 5. I don't know if you guys know, but GTA 5 had an update. We have the legacy version and there's an enhanced version. I think they're gonna do that with online. There's the legacy online and the new one. I think they're gonna run it in parallel because GTA 5 still makes a shit ton of money. It's insane how much money the game does, man. I think they respawn. Where are they going?
GTA Plus?
I fuck the GTA Plus, man. Where did they go? They just left. I think they went to the ERP cave or something. I don't know, man. I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna go to the pool. We're gonna go to the pool. Fuck it. Pool's fun. Pool's fun. It's wholesome. There's water. We can float. I can't float.
Sunk.
I can't float. Oh, there you go. Can I actually float? Can I go on top of this? Help. Some say the new GTA 5 update is a tech test. I think that too, maybe, but it's not that big of an improvement. Can you climb onto the things? How do I get out of here? I'm actually stuck. Hello? I don't think they put stairs on the pool. Are we gonna die? Okay, I gotta respawn. God damn it. Oh, is there stairs?
There's.
They're over there. What are they doing? Did they go to the other fucking shower? I swear to God, they went to the other shower.
It's sad when you look at your cock in the shower and want to suck it, but that's gay. So you force yourself to say no.
What
but
the
then
fuck?
you realize that you don't care. So you bend over as far as you can, but then realize your mom is watching you suck your own dick. Filthy rat, she says, as your back snaps in half because you're not at all flexible.
Excuse me? Do you want to explain?
No.
No.
No?
I'm trying to find a funny, like, meme.
A funny meme? I'm gonna suck your own cock in the shower? What the fuck?
Is you joining in the shower? Take off your clothes.
Is that this is the last stream before moving, not the last. Don't worry. I'm not leaving again, okay?
No, eh? Take off your clothes and get in the shower.
Is that a threat?
Yes.
Yes.
What do you mean?
It's a threat.
This is like the third time we've done the shower thing. We need a new thing, okay? We can't just do shower things every stream.
Yes, because you're super stinky because you smell like a man.
I'm sorry, I have man bits, okay? Teams
No, get in the
moment.
shower. This is a group shower.
You literally
Okay.
can't leave this alone. Look at what's happening. I'm being sprayed with gay triangles in the showers. What is? I don't like this
What's
anymore.
gay about PlayStation?
A lot of
Just
things.
get in the shower. We're waiting.
Fine. There's no space. I'm just gonna sit here.
Take off the clothes. Nah, you have clothes on. Take it off.
Fine. There you go. You happy? Can you brush? Do you wanna go wash my hair?
Wow.
There you
Oh
go.
my gosh, this is really crowded. Jesus.
Nah, it's fine.
You wanna wash my hair now at least?
I can watch TNA.
Come on. Come on. Come on.
You're drowning me.
Sorry. I made you sneeze. Come on. Wash my hair.
Your head's too big.
Whoa.
Your ears in the way.
Eh.
You take so much space.
That's what she said.
What she said? I have a dog behind me. Oh.
That's what she said, right? Haha. Barbie girl, listen, let me get my clothes on. Okay, there we go. I feel safer. I guess I am sure. Now, when you arrive, we're ending, and then we're deleting this world.
In the shower. I'm clean now.
Hey, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
We can't have Rylot come here. I'm sorry, man. It's the rules now.
Why do you look like a fanboy?
I'm just existing. What do you mean?
Your clothing. You have a bodysuit with a heart on
You
it.
have clothing? Yeah, I have clothing. I hope I do.
Look, it's a literal fucking V.
Your face is a V.
Bodysuit. At least your name has a V in it.
My name doesn't have a V. I have the VR because my name is always taken.
VR.
My name is Snover. Snover, okay? Get it right. Snover. That's how TTS says my name, Snover.
Clover.
Oh god, don't. Why did you say that?
Listen, no one can pronounce my name right.
You know that's sometimes good, so you can shut up when it's better, right?
Tell me to shut up. Is that how you treat a person?
I'll give her a mouse, Papa. Listen, I have no time to play Helldiver. I will attempt to, but I'm literally after this stream, I'm gonna just like trash my PC basically.
Die.
No, for my snowboard. Do you want some more? There we go. Wow. Oh, the tongue flaps. Look. Oh, what the fuck? That's cool. I'm gonna have face tracking to test this more. Was done with work, but I'm staying, so I'm not staying. Okay, man. Have a nice work.
Does it have face tracking?
It does, but my face tracking is on the bag now. I don't have. I literally just have my index, my whole trusty index. What are you doing with my feet?
Nothing. Stand still. Just look at the camera. Look at the camera, not me.
What are you doing?
Look at the camera, not me. What?
Stop shoving the pacifier on my feet. What the fuck? You're weird, man. My god. You did one tweet. I got 1 cent for 4. I am rich now. I gotta do this like 1,000 more times and I'm gonna have so much money.
There you go, you have
Bye,
a
Green.
pacifier on your top of your tailbone.
I'll keep you guys updated. I still want to post on Twitter and blah blah blah. Oh, speaking about that, chat, I want to say something. Okay, I'm requesting chat. What did you put it up my ass or something? You did, didn't you?
I was gonna, but then I was like, that's gonna.
I just put my hand. I didn't even look. I put my hand behind my ass and just grabbed it, and it's here. So yeah, you did.
I was gonna show up your ass, but no.
There you go.
Where'd it go? Let's see, it's still in your hand. Oh, there
No,
it
it's
is.
not.
This
Oh, look at that!
That was
Wait,
fun
get
to
out,
go-
look!
That was
Shh! I'm getting the baby to sleep. Don't make don't make loud noises. Shh.
Listen, I just want to say that was
Oh, do you not know?
Snowy's ass.
Do you not know how to take it off? Ah, fuck you
That
do.
was supposed to be up. That's
I
not
love
supposed to be up
putting.
Snowy's ass,
Don't
by the
put
way.
this up my ass, my god. We had many children, okay? I was gonna stop. I don't trust you behind me anymore. Get the fuck out. I don't want you here. I will kick you and I will make nuisances and call it no goods allowed.
She does it in real life.
That's not no, bad. Bad.
There we go.
I'm just gonna admit defeat.
Do you have a pacifier up your
Damn
ass?
Just Lisha. We do have a doggy cage. I can just shove her in and close the door. It fits. Like the dog doesn't fit anymore, but she does. What are you doing? Stop! Say say I know you like this. Shut up. Come here. Come here. Come here.
Up your ass and no one wants that. No one
It's
wants
chocolate.
that.
It's chocolate frosting. Come here. Come here. Come here.
No.
Come here.
No,
Come here.
no.
Stop moving.
Go away,
Stop
go away,
moving.
Go away. I'm gonna
Why don't
kill
want my?
I'm
You don't
gonna
want my
kill you, I'm
shitty
gonna kill you.
pacifier? Come here. There we go. How does it taste like? Give us a rate out of like 1 out of 10.
It's stuck on you. What?
Why do you want to put someone there fucking like? Why do you want to put?
Come on. Hey, don't put it on my.
Different people's mouths who are showed up in your ass.
This is fun.
Wow.
Oh, you don't know how to take it off?
Take it off.
Don't no one teach. No, don't teach. Don't teach. No. Oh, you ruin everything here. God damn it. I'm sad.
Is that mean? How dare you?
If someone doesn't know how to take it off, you never take it off. It's the rules.
Tiny.
I'm not tiny.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, actually, yeah. Where am I tiny?
That's low acrotite. Low acrotite. Never mind.
There we go. I'm normal now. See,
You're not. You're smaller than me.
I'm not.
Pretty big for a normal.
Wait, I'm not small. Am I slow? Oh, hold on. How old are you?
Yes, you're smaller than me.
I don't remember.
179.
Ah, that's fine.
Smaller than me.
Why do you have a halo?
I died.
Don't touch my halo.
No,
Fuck alive.
There we go.
no, my halo.
You would never have a halo goods, okay?
It's a cock.
This is
It's a
fucking
cock ring.
It's a fake low. What? Okay, God damn it. We have 1 second without so much. 1 second, Sharon. You can just say cock ring. That's bad.
Cock ring. I said it again.
See, Domino is awesome. You gave me a coffee. I like Domino. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I can smell this. That's cool. Ooh. Oh, picture? Oh, look at that. Domino POV. I don't think I can pick Domino. Can I pick you up? No, sorry. No ups is allowed. Ups is illegal. Oh. I like to abuse
Hey,
people.
look at me. I am the
Oh, look
princess
at that!
now.
Look at that! Yes, you are. Like, yes, you are.
I could shoot it like this, like a punch. Why do you hate me so much?
I hate you because you're very bullyable. Chat loves you, so I gotta bully you.
What about?
That's how it works, okay? It's if listen,
I guess I'm not in his inner circle yet. He hasn't bullied me yet.
a little bit. Listen, if chat likes you, my job is to make your life miserable because I'm jealous.
Wow. Oh, I see. Okay.
It was in your contract. We talked about this. I'm gonna test like having a camera like a little bit like this. There we go. I'm gonna have the cameras like this.
Nice.
Huh?
You're funny and love me. What is this?
I stabbed myself. My eye. Oh yeah, this thing will go straight to your eyes like. There you go. Just like, oh, that is awful. You don't like my suit? Do you want me to put some shorts on? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
There you go. You happy? I have shorts now.
Yes.
You can't see my stuff anymore. I have shorts.
That's not what it said, but that's fine.
What do you mean? It's shorts.
No, you
What?
need to upgrade. You need to upgrade to a skirt.
I'll smacks your head against the wall like. Yeah.
Wow.
Much better. No, okay. She died. It's fine. We can find a replacement Kevin in like a few business days.
Yeah, ask Rylos, he has like
Yeah,
2 or 3.
Whoa.
I'm gonna go try someone.
Right, we need a Kevin. Can we have the spare one? Like it's like a spare tire. I'm imagining you like hanging from like the back of the car, like oh, spare tire. I know you have one, but you have two now. What do you mean? How do you have 2 Kevins? There's 2 Kevin replacements. What the fuck?
Looks like me. That's constantly gets like recommended to me in Twitter.
You guys should touch and like slide into each other's DMs. I'm like, hi, I'm me. My name is Kevin. Oh, there's another Kevin from Europe. Good look. You guys can both be Kevins. Can you take this off of my wrist?
This one doesn't bully.
It's stuck. There you go. Thank you.
Wow.
I don't bully them. Right?
Me?
Yeah, but you're special. You're bullyable. Why are you shoving stuff on me again? I have a bird. Okay, that's cute. I like the bird. Look, it's Alfred the bird. Is that a bird? Is that a pigeon?
No.
It's a pigeon. It's Peach. Look at him. Pet the pigeon.
Is it cool, by the way?
No, it's a government spy.
Pet the pigeon.
We all know birds ain't real.
This is a good pigeon. Don't. Oh my god. Before the pigeon. What the fuck?
Kevin, du stinkst.
Kevin, du stinks. Chat is Germaning you. Oh, there you go.
Why? What?
Chat is being German. Chat is being German to you.
Dann fangen wir jetzt an, Deutsch zu sprechen.
Oh my god. Why is there so much I'm gonna need to learn language. I'm gonna need to learn German.
Vogel. Oh, das ist die Kamera.
Do you remember when I told you to point up that one stream? That was really funny.
Oh fuck yeah.
Good. Where's Goods? Is Goods in the shower again?
No, she's over there.
I think she's just Goods is just going around the world finding stuff to shove into me.
Yeah.
That's just my life now. Not like that. The fucking.
It's like that one slapping meme.
Yeah.
You just
Wait to remake the slap meme in VR. That'll be funny. Now introducing the slap 2.
Oh my.
What? Did you put the... Yes, they're being weird. They shoved the peach on my private parts.
Kevin, hol den Flammenwerfer. Can you imagine if like dicks had activation noises?
If you had a boner, they had the noise.
Beep beep. Beep beep.
Yeah, they just had a noise. I don't know. You could pick your own noise when you're born. What noise would you pick, chat?
I think everyone's favorite that I've heard, because I have heard that before, and their favorite was the Star Wars theme song.
Ah, that's too cliche. I don't know. I'm like, nah, that's too much.
No.
It needs to be like a short thing. It needs to be short.
Oh, it's just the sounds. I like that.
Like wom. You know, like the you could be like the lightsaber. Wom. There you go.
Like the Transformers transformation sound.
The
The Transformers.
My sound would be Captain America screaming "Avengers Assemble." It'll be fun. You just like there, someone teases you like "Avengers Assemble." I love the Avengers song.
I can imagine that happening, and then Goose just like banging on the bathroom door. It's like, hon, you've been in there for a while. What's going on? God damn it! I told you.
Like, God damn it! I told you to not. Or like you're at work in the office right now, and you just hear like a song like, oh, I got a boner.
Well.
What would your boner song be, good?
Hmm?
What would your boner song be?
I'm gonna find.
You're gonna search for it? Okay.
Let me find.
I like you didn't hesitate.
Let me find. Hold on.
Yes, the Swedish song everyone thinks is Japanese.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be, apparently, I was reading the news, there's gonna be a solar eclipse, like a partial solar eclipse in a few days. They issued a warning in my country, like the solar power output, like the energy output is gonna lower. I didn't fucking know about it. But you can stare at the sun.
They put out a warning for 30 seconds without sun?
Yeah, because the power grid is gonna suffer a bit.
Snowy.
Like 35% less or something.
Snowy.
I'm gonna power up everything just to fuck with them. Yes? You found your song? What's your boner song? Tell me. Tell me.
Stand ready for my arrival, worm.
Wait, I want you to pick this and beat yourself up with it.
Given more leeway than most, and yet I find this planet unprepared for the arrival.
That's too long. You can have that.
Empire.
Geostorm? No, a solar eclipse. Where the sun gets covered. I'm gonna buy those eclipse glasses. I haven't seen one in ages. It's a partial though. Let me see. Okay, well, I'll Google after. I mean, it should be across Europe, right? Because Portugal, and then you have all the things near Portugal. Call other countries. I'm sorry, my head is like brr. The end of the world. How does it sell? Because you use solar. Oh my god, is it desktop Kane?
The world as we know it.
Oh, I gotta get down in your level. Ugh.
Why have you got a dummy in your ass?
Oh, did they put it there again? God damn it.
What do you mean again?
Wait, hold on. Come here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It was a shame it wasn't my ass though. But that's cute.
Am I pretty?
Why are you testing stuff?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, wait, what's in my mouth? Wait, was this in your ass?
Yeah. You look adorable though.
But I feel it.
Does it taste like... Shut up.
How's it going? Yeah, I'm testing like avatars and stuff.
Oh, okay. I'm vibing. I'm moving like in a few days. So I'm doing like a stream to just say hi and bye and then I have like a week off.
Hi hiatus, holiday, yeah.
Yeah, so
Where
that
you
means
going?
I'm gonna come back and no one's gonna. I'm not gonna exist anymore. Everyone's gonna forget
I'm gonna
about me.
deliberately-
Yeah.
Next time we meet, I'm gonna be like, who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck? You been, wait, who are you? I'm sorry. You haven't talked in a week. Yeah, we're sorry.
Yeah,
No, I'm like
goldfish
moving to
brain.
another country because my country is very not good.
Ah, where are you moving? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm moving to Europe. I'm moving to Norway. Yes.
Norway.
I got a good job on. I'm gonna see if it works.
Yay! Oh, the heart and yup.
What?
Yeah.
I was asking Snowy, he has
Yes.
a job already?
Yeah, they don't let
Wait,
you go
got a
unless you
job
have
lined
one.
up in a new place?
Yeah. You can't go unless you have one. They don't really. I mean, you can, but you have to leave after like 3 months.
Oh, visa.
Yeah. They go like stinky. You can't stay here, and you ain't color money. Get the fuck out. I'm guessing not trying. You can still go there, and now I can go too. We can get the PP waffles. I'll try finding
So when are
PP
you
waffles.
going?
Monday. I'm gonna go by car.
Oh, okay, so we're still. Wait, was I crouched? Weekend?
Yeah, you are crouched.
Wow, so you'll be on all weekend, yeah?
I'm gonna disassemble my PC like after this, so I'm gonna have nothing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. I'm gonna DM you and just tell you how much fun I'm having playing
Wow.
Monster Hunter and stuff.
We haven't talked in like 2 years, and now I'm gonna go where like, oh yeah, I'm gonna DM every single day now. I'm gonna tell everything I'm doing. I'm like, oh, you should have been here. It was so much fun. Oh, I was thinking about inviting, but I can't today. Oh.
Yeah. The only was I'd be like, I invited you, but you didn't come. What the fuck,
Wow.
bro?
You can. That's what I do to Bubbles. I used to invite him like whenever he was streaming, and I know you can say no, and then I would just go like send him. Wow, you never say no, man. What the fuck? I thought we were friends.
Crazy.
I thought we were friends, man. Oh, where the fuck did you get that? What? Did you snipe this from across the map?
I clicked and it appeared here. So I guess somebody had it. What? Wow, you
It's a
stole
nice water with ice and water. That's perfect for baby. There you go. You can clean your paladars. Huh?
it. Wait, where'd he go? Where'd I go? There's a guy there who looks 3D, but only when he was on the corner of a screen.
He looks 3D. Wait, what? Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. You mean Domino?
Is it him?
Oh, is it because there's a filter on the world?
Why? Oh, yeah, his avatar like goes 3D, like you know, like old 3D when you look.
Yeah,
away.
it's a world filter thingy. I forgot the name. The world has a like a weird feel. You look adorable with that. Oh my god, look at you. I have a headpad.
It tastes really good. I don't know what it is, but
I usually just flavor it with like raspberries just so I get more accurate. It's more accurate. I gotta spray it. Yeah, it's daily spray. You gotta absorb all the juices.
yeah, that's gross. But yeah,
Well, clearly it isn't.
marinating it.
Just yeah, I'm marinating it. Some people bleach it. I just marinate it.
Yeah, I'm toying around with some new avatar tests. But chances are your PC's gonna be pulled apart when it's ready to show you.
Wow. I'm like, I'm in VR now. You can join if you want. And I'm like, I'm driving. I'm like, oh, so you don't like me anymore, huh?
Yeah, you should pull over.
I'm just gonna. I'll pull over, open my laptop, and just log in, like mobile data.
Yeah, rent an RV.
I do have
and
a
so you
Quest
can
Pro.
stop play.
Huh?
Missing out.
What? Yeah, you can join, man.
I'm just gonna drive while I have the Quest Pro. I put it in travel mode. It has travel mode, and we know if you put travel mode, you can drive with it. Missing out on what?
Avatar testing will have a Quest version.
You missed out on everything.
On you playing dick
missed out on
songs?
You got a nice skirt,
No.
by the way. Whoever's got that skirt, I don't know your name.
It's actually like pussy songs to be more accurate.
Kane, stop looking at.
Pussy song? What?
Stop looking at the upskirt.
Pussy song.
Oh, okay. Let me explain. So, I was saying, can you imagine if boners had a theme song whenever you had one? So we were debating which songs would you have, but technically for girls it's pussy song. It's not PP song. So you have to be
like a theme song.
Yeah, like a theme song, but it can't be too long. It has to be like short, like a sound effect, like boom,
Like
Stop
if you flirt
laughing.
with someone who you think's a girl, and then their skirt has a tent and like Pokemon battle music plays.
Not that, but I mean.
Listen, what would I
So Pokemon battle music or Skyrim battle music?
It's like you aggro someone in IRL, you're like.
At the same time.
Yeah, on top of each other.
If you flirt with someone and it works, the Pokemon battle song just starts working, and now you gotta like do something about it. Oh whoa! Oh, chat, you're stealing my hand. Stop! Bad chat. Smack.
What did chat do?
A great art piece.
Well, I got to go and test an avatar a little more.
Okay, go be
See you
desktop.
later, baby girl.
Bye bye. Oh whoa! I'm supposed to. Apparently, chat wants us art of me holding you as a baby.
Wait. English.
Oh,
One
yeah.
time I was in high school. Sorry.
After moving, chat.
Yes.
But you gotta feed me a hamburger.
I was just like me holding you, just like shoving a hamburger. Like,
Kid when I was like 17, 16. I think 17 actually, to be correct. Me and Theo, we were
I can't take this dummy out.
You just have to leave. You have to leave. I'm sorry. Say bye, chat. Just yoink it.
Sure comes in.
Bye, Snowy.
Boy. Oh.
If by some miracle my avatar gets showable before you're gone, I'll come show you.
Okay.
But we'll see.
I'm gonna be here for like 2 hours, so we'll see. I don't think it's enough time.
I'll tell the artist he's got 2 hours.
Yeah, it's like you have 2 fucking hours. Don't go.
Speed up.
Speed up, boy.
See you later.
I mean, I'm just hot. I was
Bye, baby Kane. Look, we have another one. We replace green with blue now. There we go. Perfect. Does Goods have better? Technically, Goods' internet is better because she has 1 gigabyte upload and download. I have 1 up and 100 down. No, 100 down, up and 1,000 down. I'm stupid. I'm sorry. Look at you.
What's the first thing you would do, Hanka?
I've never played.
Why did I hear Hanka?
Crossing.
Stop.
I know of her, but only because of that video.
Stupid. I don't know why Portugal doesn't have symmetric speeds. We have the technology. They just limited like. I don't know. It's stupid.
Same here.
We have face tracking now. Meow. Meow.
Cool.
Meow.
Yes, this is a cool part.
If you have face tracking, you gotta get some pupils. You gotta make it like illegal weaker so we can see it better.
No.
You gotta become illegal. I'm sorry.
Drinking piss again.
No.
Why are you drinking piss again? No more piss. We're done with that.
Says you. That keeps pissing on video.
I did that one time. One time.
All it takes is
I did
one
earlier
time.
on Kevin when Kevin was the toilet.
No, that was shit. That's different.
No.
There you go. Whoa! Say
Wait. Quiet. Stand still. There you go.
Baby RGB. I do have a baby Nova and a baby Nardo I can use. They're really cute. I think just making baby seems to be kind of weird though.
You need to give birth.
What?
What?
You guys scare me. You know, did I say this already? You guys scare me.
You scare me the most.
Why?
Yes.
The stuff, Twitter things you send me. I'm traumatized.
No, you're not traumatized. It's nothing special.
I am traumatized.
So traumatized. I'm even keeping my
Jacket on and shirt on.
Like, I want to find a different world, like, so you can like move on.
Is that traumatized? I'm wearing clothes. That's what traumatized
Oh,
I am.
one thing before we could. How many of you have VRChat Plus? You have it, right?
Me?
You have it.
Yeah.
Can you guys all take the drones out and just like make them, just put them all in front of me? I want to see what happens. Just put them like all here. Oh my. Oh look! Oh, whoa, whoa! Careful. Okay, well, there's one. Come on, guys, you can do this. I know it's hard.
You can pet them, you know that?
It's super hard, actually.
There's so many of them. No, whoa! Look at them, they're so cute.
It's real hard to stand still.
You can pet them, they wag. Oh, look at you. Use a good drone. Wow. No, man, they're so cute. There's so many. Whoa. Jesus. They're actually cute, look.
They have collision.
Oh, can they bonk into each other?
Yeah, somebody.
Let's bonk that drone. Oh yeah, they can bonk. I'm honestly considering getting VRChat Plus just for this feature.
Bro, I'm playing dead.
You flipped it, save it.
No,
The poor drones. What are you guys doing? They're so sad. They're so fucking.
On a wiggle, 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 they come with the worm. Wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Dry age RG beans. Look at them. Whoa. Hi. Whoa. There's so many. We have to. Yeah, it looks. I don't know how the UI looks like. I haven't seen this. You guys have like a controller or something? Like how does it?
Yes, you have a little
right here. Yeah.
controller.
Oh.
Like an DJI drone.
Oh, that's cool. Looks like a mini Valley. Imagine if they could they could probably give us like a custom drone like avatar we could do, and then we like change it like with some limits, and you have a custom. You have like a furry drone.
A game where that happens.
You know, also funny. You can go into full view, so your entire headset is the drone.
Oh, it's literally like the little headset thingies, like the speedy drones.
The FPV drones, yeah.
I wonder if there's someone already doing like drone worlds where you can have a drone race or something.
Yeah, I'm actually in the POV right now.
You can
Yeah, you look insane.
the drone camera. Like the whole screen is just a drone camera, by the way.
If you do that, you just look like schizo. Like oh.
And also, a little thing what they added for everybody. You can activate sounds through the camera, so you can hear what the camera basically looks at.
Oh, where? Where is that a thing?
Yeah, that is a thing that was only for the drone in the beginning.
Oh, there's a dolly
but now it's
thing.
for
I gotta test that too. There's a dolly camera.
Yeah, it was before that only the Steadicam had it. So the
Wait, but what is
Steadicam
that?
had
Like, is that a
basically
thing?
The microphone, and now it's for everybody.
I don't see any option to do that. I don't know if you guys know chat. Oh, hi. I don't know if you guys know. Have you noticed that a few streamers they have the VRChat camera when they stream like flipped? It's because on VR, like right now you're looking at me, and technically the audio is flipped. So if someone speaks on my left, you will hear them on your right, which is weird. So some people flip the camera. Yes.
When you're in the stream camera, go the first setting after flying.
After flying?
There should be a setting. Why is
There's
my menu
anchor.
so stupid?
That's anchor.
Oh, there, left from flying. Left from flying, audio from camera.
Audio from camera. But how does that work? Okay, let's see, chat.
Yeah, whatever is near the
comes
camera.
from the camera.
Okay, let's see. Audio from camera.
Think of it.
Oh, but now you're behind. Oh, that's weird. Oh, that's weird. That is weird. You're behind me now. Oh fuck. Oh no. Oh, I don't like this. Oh
There's a little
Jesus.
sign on top of the camera.
But it's better for the people watching.
No, this is fucking awful for me. I wanna die.
The volume thing is so fucking cool.
You're not gonna die. yet.
No, like if I do this, chat, like this is amazing for chat. They know where you guys are. If you speak behind the camera, now they can hear you behind the camera. Yeah, but now Lighty is over there. Like Lighty is over there for me. Lighty is over there. It's so fucking weird. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Are you stabbing me?
No, don't move. No, bad. Stabbing you more now since you moved.
It's a cool thing if you do recordings offline. I can see like little shorts and stuff, but I can't use this for long. It is awful. No, for chat, for streams it's really bad. They will fuck with my head. But for like, okay, hi. What are you doing? Is this acupuncture? Like, am I having like those like it's a Chinese like thingy? The fuck, what's the name? Acupuncture? Thingy?
Acupuncture, yeah.
It's the stabby massage. The sharp massage.
No, they're going for your body, by the way.
Yeah, it's a sharp
Like
massage.
full stab.
I don't think they do full stab.
This is a full stab. You look like a porcupine.
Literally right now.
Can you unporcupine me, please?
Actually, there you go. More stab.
Why?
You have to do that differently. No, he's a cake.
Oh, he's bleeding.
I'm a cake, okay. Happy birthday.
Like a birthday.
There you go. Now he's bleeding.
Well, my birthday is in a few days actually, so in a week.
He's bleeding.
My birthday is actually in a week, chat. I'm not joking anymore. It's not a joke. I'm gonna be like, it's gonna be the day after I arrive, so I'm gonna be dead. I'll just make a post and go like, yay, and put some like sparkles, and then go back to sleep or something.
No, I'm just gonna be gay in this corner.
More? More gay? Fuck you, Slayers. Not yet. How do people find nice worlds, man? I'm just scrolling through like the active and popular and whatever. I want to find something like vibey, but like everything is not good. Fanboy Starbucks. You know what? I found a world. I found a world. Never mind. We're going in there. Come on, Kevin. It's your world. Look. You like fanboys, right?
I was doing the fruit thingy.
But fanboys.
But fruit game.
Fanboys. Fanboys. Hi, Ledley. Ledley. Oh my god. I butchered your name. I'm sorry. Ah, my knee. Meow, meow, meow. Why? It's the world. The world has a chromatic aberration. Oh, hi. You're really close to me. Hi. Hello, Chad. You come here often? What is this? Oh, this song is fucking with my brain. Hold on. Ugh. There you go. How did you say it? I don't know, Kevin. You're naked. Did you guys find another fucking shower? Are you shitting me? You're not showering on fanboy. Oh my god. Are you
You like my plunger? It's really long.
That is a long plunger.
That is a real long plunger.
It's a very long plunger.
I know, right?
It's like firm at the. It's like girthy at the end.
Oi!
Just gonna fit in there.
Hey, that's not cool. You're
I want to see what's
in the bathroom together.
No. You guys plunge each other? Can you exemplify? Can you do something? We want to learn.
It's long and it's like girthy at the end, big at the end.
What's the good end?
The back. What?
Oh, go on.
What are you thinking of? Stop thinking of dicks, you pervert.
I'm not thinking
I
of
just
it.
stole your plunger. You stole it back.
I mean, true, he is gay.
Do you guys just hand the plunger around, like just like spin it, like here you go, it's your turn now. Have the plunger.
Because we think it helps make our breast bigger.
Oh yeah, you do the okay.
Yeah. Well.
Whoa!
Guys, I dropped my plunger.
No, it's dirty. You gotta wash it.
There you go. It's like you do this,
Oh yeah.
then you get big boob. That's how you get a good boob.
Does it work if I use it on my crotch? I need.
No.
No.
Oh. I guess I'll just be sad.
It can work.
I'm sad. I'm sad. It doesn't work on guys.
Plunger, it's really nice.
Yeah,
Plunger, you took the plunger again.
Okay, you know what?
Plunger.
I'm not even joking. This Starbucks bathroom has really good light.
Great.
Why does the Starbucks? Why does the Starbucks?
You gotta go with the grain, not against the grain.
Excuse me? What the fuck are you guys doing?
Don't worry about it. Why are you worrying so much?
I'm taking the plunger.
Girl.
I'm taking. No, give it back. You guys lost plunger privileges.
I didn't expect I'm crying from laughing. Oh my god.
What the fuck did you do?
Do you like my plunger, Kevin?
Oh, Goods is dead.
You look like you're about to play it like a guitar.
Like a banjo.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, I'm crying. My body is like...
I like this stream is like me trying to like talk to chat and doing things, and you guys just lock yourselves in a room and I can't see shit, and you just like fuck around. I'm like here.
Doing super sussy things in the bathroom.
I'm just here, man. I'm just here, and they're just in the bathroom and like plungering or whatever. I don't know.
I called when I laughed too much.
You have to swallow.
Oh my goodness, I like your skirt. She totally trained skirts.
Oh! Hi!
Snowy emerges from door.
What are you guys doing here? Hey, you gotta use the other end.
Here's Snowy!
Hi. You're like, I'm being plunged.
Yeah, go away, boob face.
You're gonna have, oh my god, you're gonna have nipple on your face now.
What now?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? Since you guys love being here, okay?
What are you gonna do?
Look at me.
I'm gonna leave my camera over here. Okay, take your. I can't touch my camera. Take your plunge. There's not enough space. There's not enough space here for anything. There you go. Don't for me. I'm gonna leave the camera here. Oh wait, now with the camera thing, I can like if I want to leave the camera, I can put audio from camera whenever I go AFK, and I can fuck off, and the audio is still on the camera. Right? Can you guys speak while I leave? You can spy on people with your camera if you put the audio and you go around the world. You can like hear what they're saying. This is cool. Privacy invasion.
There's a visible sign above the camera.
Oh.
Yeah. You can see that gets from it.
Oh, never mind.
Not so sneaky anymore.
You just have to hide it in a wall.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get dinner, and you guys take care of chat. Don't plunge yourselves, okay? Please.
No,
I'll be right back.
That's kind of what we do. Oh.
Wait, where's my plunger?
Where is the plunger? There it is. Hey.
You holding my plunger?
Plunger
Thank you.
party.
I'm keeping the plunger safe. Enjoy about it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Kira goes instantly down to the floor.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to like be barely visible for the camera.
Whoa.
I don't even know if I am or not. Doesn't look like it.
I'm not.
We're just
You're just
holding a plunger. Oh, you're
just
plunging the
chilling.
chat now. You're plunging the chat. Plunging the chat.
I don't know why you say plunger for that.
Whoa, you're putting the plunger. Here? Well, you really short.
All the popular girls to use it
No,
to make the
Kira
boobs
is
bigger.
on his knees.
I'm on my knees.
Why on your knees?
So it looks
Yeah, why
sus
on
for
It
your
is,
camera.
it is even funnier that you're right in front of Kevin on your knees. Do you pull out now a ring or something? You want to say something?
What? No.
Stop, you're gonna trigger her song.
My question is, this is about putting why were any knees?
That's so it looks sus for the camera.
I got my plunger.
For that the camera was too high, but when it be lower, it looked very sussy.
You have the plunger again. You have to make a plunger.
Oh. The fuck? What the fuck?
Ah, it's Domino.
Oh, it's Domino. I thought we were like in a horror movie right now. I was like all in the bathroom and I hear like a scary noise. It's 3 AM, but we're hearing scary noises in the bathroom. You're like, oh no, I like hands up, I'm to not check for the monster. Not me.
Not me.
Not me. We're gonna put their hands last up, just gonna check for the monster.
Dave.
Oh. Yep.
Wow.
You dropped the plunger.
What plunger? Oh, whoa, it's just, whoa. We need to find more objects to put in the bathroom.
More plungers.
I'll see what I can
More
find.
plungers.
More plungers.
More plungers. I'm gonna put this one right here. Can it stand? How? It can't. Why can't it stand? That's actual bullshit. Oh my god. Oh my god, yes. Let's grab everything and
Oh
just
my
put it. We got the milk, we got the straw, we got the plunger, we got some water to hydrate.
I got some chocolate.
Nice.
I got chocolate.
Chocolate.
I got chocolate.
Chocolate. Chug, 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 chug.
You got pissed.
Oh.
How is that piss is green? If your piss is green, I would check it out. You feel like, oh my gosh. Oh, that is not piss, that's brown. That is not piss.
It's caramel.
Why is it brown? Milk.
This is white and gooey.
Oh.
What?
Well, nobody said the piss had to come from someone that was hydrated.
Why is it like jellified?
It's piss silent.
It's a piss syrup. This kind of looks like grapes. I really want to eat this. It looks like green grapes.
There's a lot of stuff in this.
Yeah.
I feel like when Snowy comes back, he's gonna judge us.
So near the milk.
Hold on. The water.
Yo, you got the wawa.
The back.
Okay, let's see. Can you check all these three? Oh my gosh, let's go! Check, check.
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Okay.
Oh, she's falling. Oh no. Oh,
Kevin is now stuffed.
Yeah.
oh no. Kevin passed out. She passed out.
Yeah,
Who's
she
next
got
checking?
milk poisoning.
She'll be fine. She just like passed out. I think the revival of the plunger. If it here,
Put it to her maw to get the milk out before the lactose intolerance starts.
Okay, ready? There you go. This looks so weird. I'm putting inside her. This looks so weird. I really don't know.
Oh, did you read this? It's barista milk. I mean, this milk came straight out of the barista.
Whoa.
Yeah. I made it. I made it
There you
right.
go. Whoa. You're chugging water to wake yourself up?
Yeah.
Good. When drinking,
Water good.
water is really good.
Drink,
My
come on.
gosh.
Drink, come on.
Yeah. We're like, drink.
Drink. Yeah.
Actually, the best part about drinking is that this is alcohol. Yes, it's the straw, because you get more of the alcohol. Fun fact, if you drink, you get more of the alcohol with a straw. Oh my gosh.
How did you know how to drink it?
I used to drink. For parties. She's fine, she won't get drunk.
Yes, drink from her phantom wee-wee.
Yes, I had alcohol once, so it was something I drank.
Oh. I think the most funniest part when I went partying in Russia was I was drunk and I was playing
I
Among
hear
Us.
Snowy coming back. I think I hear Snowy coming back.
Yeah, get more stuff.
Never mind, we're good. We're fine.
But yeah, so I was playing a VR pet Among Us, and oh my gosh, hyper. I was playing VR chat Among Us, and bad thing, don't do that when drinking. It turns chaos. And there's like a clip somewhere. I was in full body. I don't know how gone I was, but I jumped off a building and I hit my lamp, and you can hear it in the clip. Because I thought it was funny if I was in VR jumping off a building.
No.
I thought that was funny.
And you hit a lamp.
So in the clip, you can hear the glass like dunk. That was my lamp. That was straw. Whoa. There you go.
Nice.
Do you think if you put a straw in your throat, would it like drink stuff easier and faster?
No.
Yeah, because like
it would technically be a blockage.
But how?
Because it's so much smaller than the throat. In your throat.
I mean, it was a good way to ask that.
Because when you suck on the straw, you create the negative vacuum in your mouth, not in your throat.
True.
Yeah.
True. We need more stuff. Also, where's my plunger?
Yeah.
Oh, whoa. Plunger's on. I wish this could stick so it could be like... Oh, it's stuck. So like, plunge. I think it is stuck. No.
No, sadly no.
Whoa.
That sounded like my mom.
What?
What? How does that sound like your mom?
Don't worry about it.
So how much, if you say you are VR drunk, how much VR drunk are you right now? From drinking piss, whatever this is, chocolate milk. I guess like
I'm about
100,
6
like
beers in
jumping.
and I still don't feel it.
No.
It isn't it higher?
Okay, who keeps
7.
drinking my plunger and caressing it?
Ooh.
So good behind the toilet.
I bet Snowy would caress your plunger.
Wow.
Why does it look like twerking on camera? My plunger's
What is that?
Are you still
Jumping on the bed.
you jumping on the
Yeah.
bed? I wish I could do the same, but I have a couch.
Yeah, just yeah.
Is it a... Do you sleep on it?
Wow.
Just continue. No.
Wait, Karen, if you...
Oh,
if you
you're
hold
on
the
a...
straw- where's-
Okay, never mind.
Hold on, where's my plunger again? Can we touch? Will you hold the straw?
What are we touching? Oh my god, you guys
Oh
are
my
touching
God,
tips? You're touching tips.
I literally just came back. I legit just came back. I finished eating, and this is what I come back to.
This whole,
I have such good
at
timing.
least 3 or 4 TikToks.
I have to rewatch this. I have to rewatch this whole thing. I don't know what the fuck is
If you
happening
type in
here.
WickerBeast in the gift search, your friend shows up often. The
Why
one
is there a
using the
green
WickerBeast
container?
avatar. If you check BM Snowy, you'll know what I mean.
Hide the drugs. Hide everything.
Oh, the WickerBeast in the gift search, your friend shows up. Oh yeah, late has a lot of WickerBeast. My dog is barking. I don't know why. Late has a lot of WickerBeast gifts on Discord. If you guys search WickerBeast. This is a cute little bean.
We should be. Oh, the milk carton too. Don't worry about us.
Why is there nut milk? It says
Notice. Hold on. Read it.
It says milk. Wait, what? Milk company? What is that? Wait, milk.
It says
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
That means that milk came directly from the barista.
Yeah, you like that, don't you? There you go.
Right, I do.
How are you drunk? Spit it out. Spit it out. All the alcohol right now. This is how it works. There you go. You gotta squeeze, Kevin. You gotta like squeeze, like there's like all the alcohol. It's like a sprinkler.
Do not go back and check.
Why are we all here? There's like no space in this.
No, there isn't.
Because
But I
our
like it.
spot belongs to us.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we doing now? What are we doing now?
This is home.
I arrive here and you guys stop having fun, right? Girl things?
We're
Ugh.
still touching each other's plungers.
What's a plunger in the girls' terms?
And we
This is what happened. This is why chat.
drugs.
Whoa! You can't bend over on the Kevin.
Make them bigger.
You can't bend over on the bathroom. It's weird. Oh, you pick up the plunger. Okay, never mind. Wah.
That's my plunger. You need to ask to hold my plunger.
If I need to ask to our almighty plunger, yours is way bigger than Kevin's.
That's what she said.
I know, mine's pretty big. It's like pretty big and long.
Yeah.
That would not be. That's bad.
4 times the size.
You can't plunge anything with that. Wait, are you gonna unplug the toilet by sucking it? Now, hold on, guys. The toilet is clogged. Hold on.
I would pay to see that.
What are you guys doing? Stop. Kira, bad. My god. Bunch of animals. Jesus. Don't say what the fuck me. This there. I'm gonna warn you for that.
Wow.
So what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna like put your face in the toilet with the straw and blow bubbles? Is
No,
that
you
how you
suck
plunge
up.
it with the straw?
You suck up all the like the.
That's worse.
You gotta unclog it somehow.
I didn't knew you like that, Snowy. What more you know?
Well, you gotta go, man. It's you gotta unplug.
I mean, whatever floats your boat, good one. Okay.
Snowy enjoys toilet water. The more you know.
I think Snowy likes more than toilet water.
Yeah.
When it's blocked, there's usually something else in the toilet too.
I'm taking chat with me. I'm taking chat with me. Chat, you're safe. You're safe.
Just chat. Just don't go back in the stream and don't check why we did it, because that's private.
Yeah.
It's my. What do you mean? It's that's the opposite of private. This is like not private at all.
Private, it's private, it's private.
Oh yeah, chat. After stream, when there's a VOD, right? That's private. You can't watch it. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah, you can't watch that.
They can. They every one of them can watch it. Just not you.
Why not me? Why does everyone hate me, man? I'm sad. Put us back now. You're not going back into the toilet. No. Bad. Why are you begging to go back in? Fine, there. Wait, I broke it. There you go.
Where's my plunger? It's gone.
Oh, here.
You happy now?
I'm holding it. I'm holding it.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for protecting my plunger from me. Thank you. It's well taken care of.
Yeah. That time. Oh, you did it.
This is the worst thing I've ever done in my life, man. I hate this. You guys done?
There you go.
Ow, 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 ow.
Get out, I'm playing with Goethes plunger.
Yeah.
Listen, dude, if you want to get in there, you need to accept that I have the biggest plunger.
You know when I get there, we're gonna buy you a plunger IRL now. Because I don't think you have one.
I actually do.
You do? Where?
Actually.
Just a bedroom with a suction cup.
I've never seen. Did we? I don't remember a plunger. Did you have a plunger?
Do you think I just? Do you think?
I don't know. Maybe you do whatever the.
Kitchen.
No, it's under the bed.
Bedroom?
Yeah, it's under the bed. It's the bed plunger.
Yeah.
What do you think I do with that plunger, huh?
Whatever you're doing now, I don't know. You explain to
My
me.
real plunger is pretty long, actually.
Oh my god.
I mean, technically you don't need it anymore, you now have Snowy. Whenever toilet is plugged, you can just give him a straw.
And actually, I could go to the bathroom and take a picture right now because it literally looks like.
Actually, yeah, take that. Take it. I want to see. I want to see your plunger. Go take a picture of your plunger. I forgot you had a plunger. I'm not remembering. Just receive the stuff from me from them. Wait, what? Do you want the milk, Domino? Here we go. Domino wants the barista stuff back, but he's very scared of you guys, so I'm recovering it. Sorry. There you go, Domino. I'll give you your wholesome stuff. You guys are very scary.
Menu to respawn it.
Oh no.
God, the green guy joined.
There you go. Does that work too? Barista items.
Oh my god, it's a super gay. Look at this gay bitch.
Meow, 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 meow. Kevin.
Gay UK bitch.
Kevin. Kevin.
Yeah?
You gotta go. You have to go to bed. I'm sorry. It's all the rules. Yeah. Go tell them that in some series.
No, you look like the gay bitch.
I have to go to bed now. Why do you join so late?
How dare you?
Listen. I am not Rylot. I'm Wanos. Very clearly Wanos. Right? Does everyone see? Am I going crazy?
Yeah. Yeah, like that's exactly what someone says. The first thing they say when enjoying the world, I am not someone else. That's like what we say. Like, hi, I'm not this person. Hi chat, look at me.
I'm definitely not Rylot, okay?
Just start with I'm not me.
Yeah, I'm not
Why
me.
did you eat my plunger?
I'm not me.
Where did
Domino
it go?
has your plunger.
Did you wash your ass today?
Hey Ben, thank you for the sub, man.
I sent you my plunger. My big
Oh
old
my
plunger.
god, let me see your plunger pictures.
18 months in a row.
Because apparently, you know that phenomena where girls go to the bathroom together?
I think it's actually kind of same size too.
Apparently they do plunger things.
Yeah, they all play with a double-sided plunger.
I don't know. They do plunger
okay.
things.
Did you see my plunger sent in Discord?
I saw your plunger picture, yes. Should we
I know,
like
wasn't
spoil?
nice.
Kira, okay, I'm actually gonna kick you if you keep doing that. Stop. 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 My god.
I feel like you're about to start seeing grease lightning.
What? Do I look like a greaser to you? Damn.
No, not like that. Not like that.
People can only touch my plunger with my permission.
I'm taking all the sus out. He's clogged with sus.
What am
Have you ever seen?
I've literally done nothing. I've done nothing.
Have you ever seen the movie Grease?
I have video proof that you have.
Yeah.
You don't.
So
Yes, I do.
The part where they're at the car.
Whoa, whoa,
and they're
whoa,
singing
whoa,
the
whoa,
song.
whoa, 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 whoa! Excuse me? Excuse me? Are you proposing with the plunger? Go on.
Nah, see, dog, what I'm trying to do is Charlie White. That's the look I'm going.
Come on, ask the question.
Yes. Yes. Have a comb in your back pocket to brush your hair with.
No, you don't.
I don't, man. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, guys. Can you keep quiet? They're plunging. Hold on.
Oh my goodness. Let's see this.
You guys are ruining the moment.
I actually have to go pee.
Come on, good. No, you got a plunger now. You said yes.
I gotta pee.
She's actually gonna do plunger things now.
Oh, you're actually gonna do IRL plunging.
Yeah, IRL
Oh my god. This is the first time we actually had the risk of someone pissing himself. Oh,
Why is the Starbucks drink sus?
you're still in the plunge.
Wait, what?
Wait, huh?
Chocolate Dream Boy.
Wait, I didn't even see Chocolate Dream Boy. What the fuck?
Vibes desire.
Dirty Nutella Delight. Get a taste of something extra. I just realized that. Domino, what type of cream are you putting on your things? Have you seen the names?
Crimson Caress.
Oh, plunging proposal. I don't know. Maybe I need to get up with times, man. Maybe it's a thing. Who knows? She does have a plunger that looks exactly like this one. You know what? I'm gonna show you. Fuck it, chat. I'm gonna show you plunger picture. I'm gonna show chat plunger picture. Literally, this is Goods. Goods is peeing right now on the side of this plunger. I'm just gonna give you the image so you guys can like picture it in your minds, right?
Think about that. God damn it.
Yeah, now you're gonna think about it. You're gonna imagine Goods pissing on. Actually, so the toilet is like on the other side of the plunger. It's like on the POV.
Yeah,
That's what she sees.
no,
That's
it's
what she
already, I
sees
can
actually.
imagine it now.
I'm going to the fun
Look.
corner where we-
Okay, that looks. Hold on. Let me. It's too big. Hold on. The image is massive. Holy shit. I hate iPhone pictures, man.
Not like
I
that.
mean, it's a massive plunger.
Look at that.
Talking about sports.
Look.
Right.
It's a plunger. It's real. They exist IRL. Look at that.
I've never seen a plunger.
You've never seen a plunger. Look.
Never seen a
No.
plunger.
No.
What?
I don't know. I just have that.
It's dirty. Yeah, don't blame me. I don't leave that. Blame
It is the
Goods.
famous skiff wicker.
Because you gotta clean your plunger. What the fuck?
Use your hands. But yeah, you just put gloves on and you just use your hands in the toilet.
I don't use gloves. I just grab the pieces of shit.
Norway.
No, so you suck it out. You said it.
Rylet, if you take a big shit and it doesn't fit on the toilet, you gotta get in there and just grab it. And then, like, you gotta throw it on the... Have you ever heard of a waffle stump?
God damn it.
You gotta put it on the drain so it doesn't clog the toilet. Because you don't want the toilet to be clogged, obviously, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, obviously, but like there's
I
other
heard.
ways to unclog it.
How? Explain.
You know the thing we're talking about, the plunger?
Yeah, that's for no.
could work.
That's what girls use in the bathroom, not plunging, not for like unclogging.
It's a multi-purpose tool. You can use it for whatever you want.
No, I'm sorry. That's a lie.
I've already admitted
That's a
what
lie.
girls use it for.
Yeah, that's a lie they tell boys. We have like plunging like fake news. I'm sorry.
That's sad.
Yeah. Hydroxyperos. Just use a dynamite, and that'll be fine. Chad, they're doing the fuck thing. You guys stop. Bad. If I see you with like green all over your face, I know what's happening.
Wait, excuse me? Wait.
I'm watching you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got green and green.
There's only two options. It's either you or Shrek. I don't know if.
Listen, man.
I think we would like Shrek.
Shrek. If it had so much Shrek.
If I had the choice, I think I'll pick Shrek too. Not gonna lie.
Wow. Wow, I see how it is.
Right, this is slime inside. Now we already have the slime person, okay? Fun fact, the Wolfie is actually moving too, so I'm kind of copying her. Kind of funny. Like the day before.
Like 2 years.
Wow. You send a Kevin pic of my airplane. How dare you? You can't share. Good, sent you a plunger picture. Yeah.
It's girl things. It's girl things. No,
I don't know why. Apparently, it's a girl thing.
Snowy.
Oh my god, that's absolutely massive. What the fuck?
I know, right?
This world is specifically set up for peepers.
Oh no. Let me see where. Take
Come
me.
look at this. Come look at this.
Where are you?
Hey Snowy. Yesterday I found out about a rare genetic
Oh, no.
condition where 1 out of 1 billion people are able to be born
Oh my
with
god,
two
you can see.
Johnsons. It's called diphalia.
Diphalia?
Do not pick search on Google. It's the
Why
same like
do
the
you
enema thing.
always tell me to
You
not
don't
Google
want to
something?
CIT.
Now I want to. This is cool. You can peek over like people like plunging on the bathroom. Come on. Come on, Raul, come on. Come on, they won't know. They won't know. Look. And then you just curb stomp them like. Oh. There you go.
Oh my god.
Oh, look, there's one. Shh. Come on, go do your thing.
They spotted us.
Just pretend we're not here. I hate this. You shake your poo. Do you send me PayPal stuff, Farty? I'm not gonna be able to do anything for like a week. I mean, I can use the money because I'm gonna travel for like 5 days and it's basically gas money. Thank you, but save, man, please, or I'll like smack you. Oh my god, Silver! Hi, sorry, I missed your messages. I gotta do chat. So, oh my god.
Where's the fucking money, shithead? Where's the money?
What the fuck? Why this is fun.
This is fun.
Hold on, I know we have raids. Hold on, I gotta do this, okay? This is important. Well, fuck, I placed spaced. Okay, it's fine.
Oh,
fuck.
You're right.
Fucking idiot.
Oh, this is cool.
Where
David.
is my money?
Yes.
I love the fact that part of the hair is actually detaching.
It's detaching from the head, yeah.
Come here, chat. Fucking. It's like when you do in movies, like you know the cartoons where they have the bullies, they flip them upside down and they shake them and the coins fall. Like, come on, where's my lunch money? Where's my lunch money?
Where's the fucking money?
I told you to bring in my lunch money. Did you leave it at home?
Yeah.
It's so dumb. Where's my money, boss? I do have an avatar with that. I wonder if it works on mine. Hold on. I don't know if I make it. It's Feast Bones though. It's the old one. I can't click my menu. Why can't I click my menu? Hello? Oh,
Oh my
there
god,
you
you
go.
can break the arm.
Don't break his arm. What the fuck? You're evil. Okay, upload the.
How are you gonna break his arm?
I don't know. Have you ever seen Gel before?
Have it? Oh, I've seen it.
So this avatar is called Y. Server processing. I'm sorry, this user is currently unavailable at the moment. Beep boop beep.
I need an.
I can arrest you, no one's gonna know. I mean, they'll see cues, but it's fine. Stop! No DPS. Shut up. My god. Oh, there you go. See if it works on me.
Oh my god.
Wait, hang on.
Inside the,
Oh, is it not grabbable?
White stuff floating in
No,
it.
I can't.
Oh my god, what the fuck?
It's
Kevin, try grabbing onto him. I can't do it.
Hey, look, can you imagine? Look at that. Look. I'm clapping. Hi, you guys having a date?
You goddamn right.
I'm sorry, I disturbed you. I'm just gonna go back.
No.
Huh?
We need coffee and breakfast sandwiches.
Hi, I'm getting it. I'm the new. Hey guys, I'm the new barista. So I don't know how this is gonna be like really bad. I'm kind of shaky. Wait, hold on. There you go. You need anything else?
Oh my god, Tussentuck.
Oh, food, right? You know, you know, in Starbucks is good when the waitress Naruto run.
Night of the shit house.
I've been knighted of the shit house.
I'm sorry, we ran out, we ran out of food, but I can do this.
Oh. I'm sorry, but this coffee isn't coming enough.
Well, your coffee doesn't have enough. Wait, what? Wait, what the fuck? Yeah, hold on, I'll tell the manager. They said it doesn't have enough cum. I don't know what that means.
I just. What are you looking at me for?
I just work here. You're holding the plunger. You're clearly the boss. So.
I can fix that. I can fix that.
Okay, there you go.
Alright, my employee will fix that. We're just.
Oh look!
Wild.
Cream.
There we go. Is that good?
Oh yes, that is amazing. Thank you.
I see you spawned a cup of something. Meanwhile, that's gonna cost you extra. I'm sorry. Like whatever.
What do you mean? I brought that from home.
Yeah, we have home like extra.
Here's my cream.
More cream, thank you.
Lord of the shit house. So this is
I'm the waitress now.
Be just shitty.
Do you think I'm pretty?
It's the first day. They're quite shaky.
So, were you born without a skeleton?
No, I took it off when I was 15.
Oh yes, I took it off.
Oh,
Yeah. You know what? Do you know what they did with like the fucking Wolverine?
Oi. Open your mouth.
Oh my
What?
god.
I need you to open wide for me. Like
I'm a
super
protege
wide.
and I have a screen. What do you mean?
Oh wait, then we do the other way.
Whoa! Whoa! No! 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 No!
No, so listen, it needs to go out of your mouth, but since you have a screen, it needs to go like scoop like.
Man, I'm gonna make. Hold on. I'm gonna make this avatar. I'm gonna make this avatar public. Give me 1 second.
Look, you have a spine now. I showed up your ass, and now you have a spine.
Stop shoving stuff on my ass. Hold on. Hold on.
Fucking spine.
I'm gonna become British while this happens.
Do you like my
shanking people?
I'm making this avatar public. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Well, technically. Oh yeah, yeah. Technically, it opens, right? Oh, this is weird, man. Hi. Oh, the tongue. Hey. Do you know the thing? Do you know the thing that guys do with their dicks, right? The helicopter?
The helicopter, yeah.
I can do it with my tongue.
Outstanding chat. Outstanding.
Goods. Look at my tongue.
Out the purple boy at how well I could do his voice.
What's your password?
He literally called me a parrot dog. Called me a parrot.
Oh, I gotta log in. Okay. Avatars. My avatars. It's really old. Like, load more avatars. Oh my god, there's so many.
Hey, Rylo.
I think I need to delete some avatar shit.
And like 20 plus people are with Abby. And then like they join.
We did that yesterday.
Okay, challenge.
Wait, hold on. It's this one. Can I make it public? Make public. There you go. I made this public. I don't know if you can clone it or not. Yes.
You have to turn on.
If we got in a roll, we will try to
I
find
have it
a
on.
bathroom. Just
Hold on, let me-
It's impossible not to find one.
Oh, I'm doing something good. Hold on. Oh.
Mitosis. Mitosis.
I gotta find the thing.
What do you mean more purple? There's not enough.
Can you guys see if you can clone this one? I'm testing something. Don't worry about it.
Mr. President, strongest of wind.
I can.
Oh, there we go. It works.
Wait, are we cloning this now? Oh.
You can now be the proud users of the worst fucking avatar I've ever done in my life.
It's incredible.
Wait. I have an idea, okay? Everyone line up behind me. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, lay down behind me. This is gonna work.
Okay.
Okay, you just have to trust me, okay?
Oh god. Okay.
Just stay there. Just stay there. Just stay there.
What the fuck?
Okay, I gotta change my microphone. This is gonna be fun. Just hold on. Okay.
No.
There's a lot of setup required. I don't even know how this looks with full body. I've never like tried.
There's a lot of setup required.
It's gonna be worth like 5 seconds. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be nice. It's gonna be worth it. Okay.
I didn't. Man, I'm scared.
There's a lot of setup involved. Okay. Wait, does it have animations? Oh, it does! I forgot about this. Look.
No way.
Wait, okay, stop. Everyone stop. I have an idea before we do the thing. So you see the over the top, right? Oh wait, click it. Just click it. Fuck it. Just start. Right?
Holy shit.
What the fuck is happening? This looks like a babok. This looks like popcorn being made, bro. What the fuck?
When you finally found out how popcorn feels.
Listen, I made this avatar when I had no people watching me, so I was the only one using it. I never predicted this scenario. This is like 10 times better with than what I was gonna do, so it's whatever, it's fine.
Just tell me you're looking at us like, what the hell's going on?
My coworkers asked me when I didn't have to work today. Oh, you know, just...
Who needs bitrate, man? Fuck bitrate.
I need to pull up the stream.
Oh! I remember one thing this avatar has. I made this avatar, I now I remember. It was when I was screwing with bubbles, so I added the screen. But which one of you is Violet? Violet, look at me.
Oh my goodness.
Violet.
What did you say?
Violet?
What?
Violet?
What? Wait, what?
Violet? I think he's distracted. Am I muted? Whoa.
I'm sorry.
What?
Oh shit, yeah, I am muted. Fuck.
What?
I hate messing with sound.
Oh my god.
There we go. Violet, I made this avatar when I was fucking with bubbles, so I added this.
God damn it.
You were doing what with
Of course he did. Oh my god. He was fucking bubble.
No! Oh my god. No, I mean, that's the only light. Like, no! Exorcism. Yo!
God. This one.
Oh my god, it gets more. Wait, everyone go around Kalos and do the distracted.
Oh, distracted.
What's going on?
Just accept your fate.
Why would you do this to me?
Wait, now we switch to the over the top bucket.
Over the top, over the top.
You're killing my computer!
Oh my god.
You chose one hell of a time to accept off.
the fuck?
I cannot see it. I can see from my beans. What the fuck?
This is the perks of having a lot of people around you. Is you can do a lot of stupid bullshit. Oh my god. I'm sweating, man.
Oh my god.
Old VR chat, content chat. Did you guys like this? You remember back in the day when you actually used to do things and not just wiggle on camera and be riled or something? I don't know. Hi. You were over my shoulder. I was like it was like just a fast, like you're fast. I'm sorry, first victim.
Wow. Wow.
There you go, chat. We're gonna have whoa. We're gonna have a coffee date, chat. Oh, how you be? Say hi, chat. Sorry, there you go. You guys can get this coffee and this. I've been neglecting you. I gotta go on a date with chat now. I apologize. It's my fault. It's my fault, chat. Oh. I don't know. But like recently, I've been super overwhelmed with keeping up with chat, and oh, there's an ad. Fuck. I took a date with chat when there's an ad. Gotta wait. The chat. I'm out. I gotta wait for chat. They're busy. They're on the bathroom, I think. I'll just sip my coffee and wait for them. Oh, by the way, Martin, thank you for the raids, man. I'm so sorry. Huh?
Have you been experiencing symptoms such as coughing, wheezing, or sudden loss of focus?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm scared. What was in this coffee, bro? What the fuck? I think they're putting weed on the cum. Good, come here. We're gonna have a date with chat. Chat, hi, welcome back from the ad. We're having a date because I've been neglecting chat, so we're gonna have a date with chat. Come over here.
No, I put my plunger.
I'm gonna put your plunger in chat.
There, I'm just using that. Oh, if someone uses that chair, they're fucked.
Yeah, don't sit on a chair. Did you put the... Okay, you put the plunger on chat's chair. So technically, now they have a plunger up their asses. That's her fault, chat.
Why?
Oh,
Did you
God
see
damn it.
Discord I sent you what
There
Cameron
we go.
replied to me?
What did you say? You guys plunging in the M's again without me. This is bad. Oh my god, that plunger is so mad. Don't add that squiggly line. That's worse.
What?
They're doing plunger things. What do you mean meant it?
Yeah, she actually was.
That's not a big plunger. That's a normal plunger.
Plunger things. We did amazing things with plungers.
And I'm... Kevin, why are you naked?
My plunger is right there, so I don't recommend sitting there.
Why are you
It's
naked?
gonna hurt.
Oh no, that looks like a good time.
You want some
Oh.
piss?
Bye, Domino. Bye bye. Sorry. Oh. Oh. Huh?
You good?
Wait.
Kira, you're like...
Vika.
Kira, what the fuck?
Where's the...
Kira's just doing weird shit on the
Am I sitting
background.
on a plunger?
Kevin, don't jump on the plunger. My god. We look like we're... Okay, wait, come here, goods, come here. Sit there. If you have like the coffee cups, we look like we're doing a coffee podcast. We're podcasters now. We're gonna talk about Andrew Tate and I don't know what else this. Kira, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh my god.
Security, can you take this one from our podcast? We're being attacked by a terrorist weaker organization right now. I'm sorry. I don't mean I have that very seizure friendly.
It's a seizure tester.
You can't call it a seizure tester brain power when is Kevin really wearing clothes. You know what? Why do you have a... Okay, sorry. Kira, can you not disable that? Why are you stuck? Oh my god.
I can switch avatar.
What the fuck? Oh. Listen, we're trying to have a chill moment with chat. Pure chaos. It's the duality, okay? You either have pure chaos or pure chill. There's no in between. Nobody likes the in between.
We need to land in different world. I want to find more bathrooms.
We're not going to find more bathrooms. Why do you want more bathrooms?
More bathrooms. Yeah.
I agree.
More bathrooms. Can you search for bathroom? Like actually.
Okay, how about this? I'm gonna put random worlds. We don't know what they have, and whoever finds the bathroom first wins.
Yeah, here Shangri-La. Totally safe for work word.
Kira, I'm gonna bury you, like face first on the ground, like just until we're done.
Sus, Kira.
Okay, let's see. I'm gonna put a random world.
Make sure they don't have a glory hole this time. The last
What?
time we find a bathroom.
What? When?
Remember?
No.
Remember during the New Year's party, we were looking for like party rolls. I went to the bathroom. There was a fucking glory
Oh
hole.
yeah. That one's bad.
with like tape on the sides. Yeah.
It was actually. I actually was like, what the fuck?
Guess I did not expect that.
There we go. How about this? We're gonna see if this one has a bathroom. Yeah, as a bathroom. Oh, the eat sushi of the baked furry thing. My god. You mean Raymond? That is pretty hot, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of wanted to recreate that thing with my Sono. Sorry for my distract. Oh, this looks like something. Holy, oh my god. I mean, the whole world is your bedroom, right? Look at that.
Pick a better one.
Everyone is your bedroom. Look at that. It's bedroom everywhere.
Whoa. Welcome to the wheat fields of Oregon. Just too bright.
Treat you guys. We're gonna work on the wheat fields.
Mid America? Central America?
Technically,
the bathroom is just my 4090.
Yeah, you can pee everywhere.
What the fuck?
You're free.
But my eyes are burning. I see what I'm saying. Ah.
The sun is a deadly laser.
Just don't look at the sun. Look, shadows. Look at the shadows.
Please switch worlds, please. It's too bright for my
No,
eyes.
stop,
I'm gonna get an eye
stop.
strain and headache.
Stop. I fixed it.
Hey, just so I can still see. I'm clicking for you.
Finally, a world in VR chat that feels a little bit like Resnight.
Look at that. Who needs frames? The sun. Where's the sun?
Wanting to touch grass?
Sun. It's a deadly laser.
You see the sun. Everything that the sun touches. Don't piss on the sun. Oh my god. It took 5 seconds for someone to attempt to piss on the sun. You need to stay. Like, your restraining order specifically says like at least 10 feet apart from Kevin.
I have no restraining order. I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Alright, we're calling the police, right, Kevin?
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Don't agree with him. What the fuck?
It's the law. I don't make it. You should have thought about it before you did the thing, okay?
It's Christmas. What do you mean?
Yeah, I can't even say it on stream how bad it is. The thing.
Oh my god.
With the peanut butter and the Nutella and Kevin, remember?
Wait, with Kevin? Wait, what?
Yeah, that's why you have the restraining order.
Night mode, and it's so much better.
But I didn't do anything.
So much pleasing.
Where do you think this brown color comes from?
My mom.
You know what?
What? What? Wait, I'm confused. This is a really good world. It's just a good size training, whatever. I love how she says ice training, but she walked into the fucking sun. So I'm like, okay. Like, oh, my eyes hurt. Just walked into the sun.
I mean, she had an objective.
Kevin.
I'm gonna piss on the moon. Nah, I'm gonna piss on the sun.
Yeah, you kind of sent her off with this objective.
She went there, not me. Oh my god, is this another Kevin?
But why does everyone I bring a Kevin immediately? What
Are
the
you a
fuck?
Kevin?
You know me. I ain't no Kevin. I'm
Okay.
McCalla.
Are you one?
Hey, look, it's even the name. It's Kevin's Corner.
Yeah, Kevin's Corner. It starts with a K.
Okay.
Bro, I'm literally gonna bring Cookie in here. If y'all keep saying that.
Can you guys?
I am a cookie.
No, not you, Cookie. The other Cookie.
Oh yeah, I know that there's a repo of VR Chat World, but it's just like aesthetic so far. But they're working. Yeah, that's gonna be cool if they actually pull it off. Don't worry, Kevin. We'll never replace you.
I'm surprised.
Unless there's someone like slightly better.
Wow.
Then we'll think about it. Hi, you are just black. You have no shading.
I steal them from other people.
Racist.
What? What the fuck?
Racist.
That's not what I said.
Who's racist? Let me see.
Switching worlds. You're switching worlds.
Oh no! Hold on. I'm gonna be dead for the next 20 seconds. I can't hear you. I cannot hear you. I'll join you after, actually, if you want. Oh, what? Oh, Nana? Where? I'm gonna pretend I can hear them. Oh, yeah. No, I can't. Huh? What? Oh, British. Sorry, I don't speak British. I can't hear. Oh, Good's left. It would be so cool if no one went in. Oh, they're all going. Never mind. We have to go, I think, I guess, maybe. You could do the thing, you know what? When the portals now? It didn't work, actually bugged it. Jesus, Ben. Fuck, I forgot so... What the fuck, man? God. Dodging subs and... This is so slow, Gooch! What the fuck? We don't fit! What the fuck? So I'm stepping on people. You can't put a portal here. It's too big. It's too small. Wait, let the thing end. Sorry, I still can't hear. And then I'll try and fix this. I'll try and fix it. Just put it on the corner, like on the corner. Oh, corner! Corner portal! Read up! Jesus. Holy shit, even my voice is calmer now. Ben, fuck. I don't even, like... I don't even know how to respond. I'm gonna fucking cry. Okay, I can handle. Okay, I am strong. Woo. What the fuck is happening today?
What? What the fuck?
I'm not trying to like, what is happening? It's just like Gangnam Style. Okay, I gotta calm down. Thank you, man. Actually means a lot. Like, seriously. There's an ocean like around the island, so technically there's a bathroom everywhere. It's my birthday. Happy birthday, man! There you go. I got some happy birthday pets. So 50 gifted are currently. Oh yeah, if gifted subs are cheaper, yeah, that's true. But yeah, thank you so much, man.
I got my salary yesterday.
Just
also,
save, man.
50
Save.
gifted are currently 35% off.
But no, really, thank you. Like I never react like this, but like I'm going through a lot of stuff and you know moving and stuff. So, fuck yes. You can say you made me tear up at least. You're welcome. Thank you so much, Master.
Did you wash your ass today?
Thank you, man. Thank you for the raid and the sub. Thank you, God. How the fuck is that not even a hype train?
Reading you?
There's some Norwegian people. We gotta like try to start learning. It's just how they like they see each other and just like fucking piece of shit. Oh.
No, but really, du trenger på norsk.
I can't find a bathroom. We need to find a row as a bathroom.
There's water ever. We're not portaling again, goods. Just wait a little bit at least. But whoever loses this round has to. Kevin, why are you playing like sniper mode edition? What is that? Kevin is playing like fucking. Oh, okay. Well, I was gonna say whoever loses has to. You gotta jump in the pool now.
Get out with me here.
Fuck off, Kira. Get out of here. You did it for free. Take it off.
Yeah, I was about to.
You know what? Fuck it. Full stream. I'm gonna take my jacket off.
Wait.
There you go.
Started my hot tub stream yet. What the fuck?
Yeah.
You can't stream on my hot tub. That's copyrighted.
So I can't really say.
Copyrighted.
Yeah, there you go.
Damn it! The outfit was gonna be a surprise. God damn it. Okay.
It's okay, man. Nobody cares about our streams. It's fine. It'll be a surprise anyway.
Okay, well she's not showing.
Chat. Chat. When you see the special outfit on someone else's stream, just act surprised. They'll be like, "Whoa, we've never seen this before!" Oh my God, Kevin! Whoa, you're using latex. It's bad.
Wow.
Speaking about that, I need you guys on full outfits for next week. Not next week, the after the 6th, because I want to record something and I need everyone with swimsuit. This pool is very slidey. We're gonna do the Vor slide too. We gotta ow!
Finally doing Vor slide.
I gotta actually do it. It's gonna be you, Kevin, Love Juice, Kira, Goods, me. You're gonna try and get Wolfie and Peck so far. Because apparently Peck likes Vor, so I was like, you know what, fuck it, whatever. Sure.
What about him?
Who?
Whoa, titties on face.
Do you want to be on it? I don't know. I'll just invite friends. I'll just ping everyone. Whoever joins.
Dexter did make a good point. People was looking for a bathroom, and now everyone's in the pool.
I mean, did you know that peeing the pool is actually fine? Like, it doesn't get pink, so it's whatever. That's a myth.
We can't do the bean meme.
What the fuck did you guys do?
What the fuck is that?
Okay, no, I missed this. Explain right now. Excuse me.
No, we don't need to explain shit.
Explain. No, I need an explanation.
We're just testing how long Kevin can hold breath.
Exactly.
I hate you guys so much. Oh my god. How long are you on? Fancy, I gotta leave in about an hour and 30. So around that.
Oh yes, pistol.
Oh, am I still live? I got a network here on the thingy. Whoops.
And be careful.
Is it working?
There's no tricks in the pool, so...
You might play the shit itself.
I mean, technically it's safe because of chlorine.
Okay, it was the player. My dashboard just died.
Technically, pool is an automated bathroom because of the chlorine.
Piss water.
You know that there's a typical food smell, chlorine doesn't smell.
Yeah, it's piss. Like actually.
Bad. It's a mix of
Did you
piss
know
and
that?
chlorine that smells.
I don't even know what's going on back there.
Like a water place.
Yeah.
The smell of chlorine, like the pool, is piss. Literally piss and chlorine.
I smelled chlorine before piss and it smells like the same thing, so that's probably not that accurate.
I mean, you can't be. Listen.
Bro, you guys just, you guys just look like you look like I took a piss and you guys just left me, cause like I'm here and you just like went away and like you're forming a little group. Can you like come here and be near me? I promise I'm okay. I'm good.
Because you took a shit.
Not on the pool.
Shit on the toilet lid. On the lid, bro.
What does that have to do with the pool? It would be worse if I took a shit on the pool.
Was that floating behind you?
Not really because of the chlorine, but
Shut
if
up.
you had diarrhea, it would be worse.
You know what? You guys can stay there. Never mind. I regret.
Oh, it's a mouse.
You know, no, I can make this better.
This is a very. I just realized this is a very multicolored pool.
Bouncing, what the fuck?
It's like purple, blue, yellow, red, green. Oh, another blue. Never mind.
I don't like this bouncing.
At least you think my area.
Yeah, it's like slightly bouncing. I don't like this.
It's actually pretty big.
No, it's
Not the plunge again.
like being in a swimming pool
Listen,
in
I
an
showed her
earthquake.
my IRL plunger. She thinks it's nice and big.
Yeah, it's massive. It's gigantic.
American squatting.
Can I have some assistance? Chat, help.
I love why I mean it. I actually sent a picture of my plunger. Like actually.
Stop sending pictures of the stupid. I'm gonna throw that plunger away when I'm there.
No!
You have 5 days with the plunger and then it's fucking gone. I'm burning it.
Shiny snowy. Hey, look at shiny snowy.
You should kiss the orange guy.
Oh my god, brother.
Where's Koda? Were you licking my foot?
And now you should do the thing, where you go there and then you test your breath.
He's like really kissy and licky. He just, if you like anything that's near him, he will lick it.
No, not at the same time.
Why are you whining, boy?
I have a funny story about that actually, like on a game. So do you know the game? Like, what's the game? It was a MMORPG. Me and my friend downloaded the game. That was like 200 gigabytes. We went in, made 2 accounts, found like a lake, and then we found out that the game had like a breathing mechanic. So we were trying to see who lasted longer, and then we uninstalled the game. So like we downloaded 200 gigabytes to see who lasted longer underwater, and then we deleted it. It was very fun, like 5 minutes.
Breathing. No, not breathing.
Not breathing. You guys are no. Fuck off.
You said breathing.
Yeah.
Breathing.
Yeah, breathing.
I give up.
Breeding.
Stop saying that word.
He still
Who is breeding who
cannot pronounce.
What are you breeding?
You guys are mocking.
Breading then.
You know that my mocking an accent is very, very offensive. You guys are.
You mock
cancelled.
You say I sound funny.
Yeah, but you're just like blah 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 blah.
I'm British.
Oh,
It's not a
Oh yeah.
accent. It's a handicap.
No.
Say pumpkin and teeth. Come on, say pumpkin and teeth.
Pumpkin. What's wrong with pumpkin?
Look at
Fuck
those
you.
chickens.
I'm not saying tiff. No, tits. I gotta clean my tits, chat. Yes. I gotta brush my tits. I'm sorry.
He can't say teeth.
Wait, you need to clean your Where's the plunger?
Get in the water right now.
I look at America and I just see, oh, this line is north. That's like saying in the UK, London is north.
Jarvis, electrify them.
Making fun of accents, imagine.
Stop bonking your balls.
Jarvis bombed his family of 5.
Oh my god.
Jarvis, jerk it a little.
Oh my gosh, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, Goots' dog is having an annual.
You know it.
Jarvis, jerk it at 120
For a
BPMs.
second, a moment.
120 BPM.
Increased by 5%. Oh, he's just floating away. Bye. Wait. Wait, why is he east? What are you guys talking about? What is happening today? This is weird, man. I don't want to be here
Why are
anymore.
we talking about incest? This is weird.
Bum para.
Oh, I heard incest.
Do you have a brother or sister?
No.
No,
I guess you're gonna be single for a while. I'm sorry.
Thank goodness there's no songs like
I'm
that
sorry.
about my state.
I found out what happened.
Wait, what happened about what? Why was Minikane small? It was desktop mode. He's testing some avatars. You know what my cat does? We have a water fountain. I have one cat that for some reason, I think he has trust issues. He doesn't believe the water is there, so he smacks it.
Take a pause drinking, don't throw up again.
Like, he smacks the whole thing multiple times to make sure he has water. Then he drinks it.
I always sing that song whenever I go to
Oh, whoa. Jesus.
Bye, Goots.
She died.
It's a submarine now. It has the teeth out, like, to breathe. I read, my god.
Into Virginia and then straight into West Virginia.
Next snapping AFK. Kiri is worse when coming back from AFK. Just like.
In West Virginia, there was a long
And then people wonder why headsets, like, oh, my index doesn't last too long. You're like, oh, be right back, guys. I'm gonna get AFK. Fucking. There we go. Be right back. Yeets it across the room.
My index technically still works. It's just a bit snowy.
You're welcome.
I just have a really loud exhaust.
So are you saying when it gets snowy, you replace
You did what to your headset?
Come on.
I'll be the index. I'll sit. No, I'll sit on your face. I'll go around. There you go. I'll fake it.
Wait, what? You'll sit on my face?
I'm warning you. I'm warning you. You're taken by them. You can't say those things. Bad. Bad. Jarvis, clip that. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Now you reminded me. I used to have voice commands on the Windows thingy. I'm gonna put that again, and I'm gonna have the Jarvis clip that shit command. I'm gonna be like, Jarvis, clip that, and it just clips it. That's actually really easy. Like, Jarvis, clip that shit.
Clip that.
Clip it.
Clip it and ship it. My index broke. Have you seen how she fucking took it off? What the fuck? No wonder she had like 4 Quest 2s. Like, what the fuck? So aggressive. You know, like when I had the index the first time, I took it out of the box, I put the controls, I was like, oh, I put it on me, I'm like, oh, I was like, I gotta move, and then like after a few weeks, I just fucking, let's take it off. Hold on, guys, I'm itchy.
Actually,
there we go.
Oh my god.
Jesus, that sounded violent.
Let me get my water.
Yeah. Oh my god, Chad, let me get my water really quick. I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
Oh, I pressed the option.
Make
Oh.
as much plastic noise as possible.
I can. You know what's the worst part?
Like a headset a year.
I can't afford to break the index because they don't ship to Norway. I have to buy it in Portugal and then ship it to Norway. Code threw up again. Oh my god, that dog is so dumb, man.
Taxes.
You don't have to taxes.
Ship it to Norway?
Yeah, but Norway's nice. Like they got good mountains.
You don't have to pay taxes on it because you can just. I have a Portuguese passport and I can just walk in and say it's mine, and they're like can't do shit because it's as long as the box is open, they can prove it's new. Whoa.
Index is sitting over there. I just don't use it.
Something? Help? Hello? Man, I need a new. There's all these rich people over here. Oh, my index is used as a Bluetooth receiver for my Beyond Pimax 2. Fuck off. I'm sad. I had to add the Vive XR to send to the US because it doesn't ship to Estonia. Goods has one, the Vive face tracker. I told Goods to keep the Vive face tracker and not sell it because that thing is gonna be like that's like Bitcoin. It's increasing in value.
Snowy.
Actually, it's rare now. Yes.
Careful how you say sad when you're in Norway.
I know what sad means. Yeah, I know. I know what it means. Sad or sad or something. It's like two A's.
Why is the water a different color?
It means you know what sad means? You know what sad means in Norwegian?
No.
You should ask
Can
Goods.
someone in Snowy's chat do the piss thing?
It's similar.
Pissing it. I just got doing it.
Are you asking for my chat to piss on you?
Yeah, to piss or not to piss? That is the question.
To piss or not to piss?
I'm not gonna say it here on the camera.
Actually, oh, it's wait. It's for the elite, right? For the Vive elite, right?
I can make it scientific, so it's not bad. I'm saying in a scientific term.
Scientific.
In Norway means semen.
No. I am not into this.
The man of the sea.
Understandable, actually.
Yeah.
Think about it that way.
It's because you've never done it.
Hey, Violet, can you go to like the ocean just for a little bit?
I mean, I guess it's also...
Just go there. Trust me.
No.
Just go there. Go to the water.
I know what you're trying to do. No.
Go to the water and then come back. Trust me.
Go to the Atlantic.
Just go to the ocean, deep yourself, and then come back.
Go to Canada.
So S-A-E, the A-E
Go.
letter,
Okay,
and then D.
Fine.
Sad.
Really?
Look, chat. Ralph is a seaman. Haha, funny.
Aww. He's a good subby. He's doing what he's told.
Actually, yeah, true. That was quicker than I would thought. I think there's something going on there.
What the fuck?
Yeah, what? Oh, I can. There you go. You look very.
Amazing.
You're so smart. Yeah. Oh, look at him. I bet he has like an A in math.
Totally not brain empty. You know everything.
He looks like my cat.
Well, that's what my face looks like when I watch TikTok.
That's how my cat looks at me sometimes.
Yo, same.
Brain rot.
I told Ronald to come back. Did he drown? What the fuck is?
Yeah, he went to the Atlantic. I told you. He's
You got Ronald got washed away. Sorry, chat. 07 for Ronald. Can he not come back in or something? Like what?
You can actually go around the world.
Don't think so.
You can. I mean, it's gonna take a while.
Fly the drone.
Have a drone, sadly.
He just fell off the world.
What is he doing?
Yeah, you can't go around
Hi.
it. He fell off the wall.
How long does it take to take a dip?
It takes like fucking 2 minutes, and then you fall off the world.
You could have just dipped your foot. Wait, what? Did you went like all the way?
I thought you meant like go all the way out.
No, you're supposed to just dip yourself like there and then come back. It was like fast, like 2 seconds.
No, I went all the way.
Okay, he was a big seaman.
Going around like a motorboat.
You underestimate his abilities.
Oh, I'm inside Mars.
I know exactly what is but I don't underestimate him at all. I know exactly what he's capable of.
You don't know. I can draw people pregnant. Wait, that's wrong.
I hate having artist friends. Like, it's just so fucking awful.
Yeah.
You make a joke and suddenly it exists and it's awful.
I can get pregnant from
Like, haha, funny, pregnant. Can you draw Kevin's like okay, listen. Can you draw Kevin's beans pregnant by like a green baby for no reason? Trust me. Yeah, trust me. Yeah, the beans. Specifically.
I've never seen a big bean pregnant, so I don't know how to do that. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna murder you.
Creative freedom. You can explore your new techniques.
Remember, in Germany, I'm gonna murder you.
Pregnant. That's when you get pregnant and the father is called Greg. Gregnant.
You get pregnant from eating Greg sausage rolls, you call it Gregnant.
Whoa, hip.
In the parking lot of a Greg's.
Pregnante. I know, good. You take your time.
I'm actually gonna make that now.
Why?
That's gonna be my thing. I'm gonna do that at Comp
You spent a week with
I got Gregnant.
With the Greg's logo.
True.
Where's Greg? I'm pregnant.
No pregnant in the F.
I'm pregnant.
I'm just warning you.
I'm just
No
gonna get
pregnant.
I can do that.
That's fine.
Blame them.
I'm watching impregnated.
Gregnated? Impregnated?
What does Gregnated mean?
Greg's is a restaurant. No, Greg's is like a cafe. You can get sausage rolls in the UK. It's called Greg's.
Oh, I want a Greg special. And they're like, oh, be careful, you're gonna get impregnated.
Yeah. You just gotta be, you gotta be careful. Like, the sausage rolls can definitely get you pregnant. So you gotta be careful.
How are you eating them?
Wait, what?
How are you eating them?
Just,
Who's eating impregnable?
See, the way the restaurant called Greg's makes sausage rolls is they get like an egg from a woman and then they fertilize it and they put it in like in the middle. That adds the extra flavor. So if you're biting on the middle and then you're not careful, you have to like bite through it to kill it, otherwise you get pregnant. That's how it works.
Oh my.
Because you swallow it and then it grows. And then 9 months later a Greg comes out.
I was gonna say, in America they call Greg's GRX. We were literally just talking about this at the con.
The Greg's.
Oh my god, this is GR eggs. It's like
GR eggs. I wanna open a restaurant called GR eggs and we only sell egg stuff. Then people call it the Greg's. Yo guys, wanna go to Greg's?
Yo, we have so many omelets.
I'm going to Greg's.
Oh fuck, that's a good idea.
I'm Gregging it.
I'm
Gregging right. I could go for a Greg right now. Right, chat?
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna Greg.
I'm Greg. I'm Gregging it right now.
I also feel like if you were named Greg, you get like 10% off or something.
Yeah, I have a special discount.
You gotta prove it with an ID.
People that call Greg.
If you're Greg chat, you can eat. Is anyone named Greg in chat now? I'm curious. Can you imagine your name is Greg and then you're watching the stream on the background and I was like, what the fuck is happening?
That would be even worse though, because impregnated or impregnant is actually worse when you say that.
Who's getting impregnated?
Don't you know, it's like those YouTube videos where like in the middle of the video you just say a random name and tell them to go fuck themselves. You're gonna surprise a bunch of people randomly. Like you're just like a normal YouTube video and then suddenly you cut and you're like, hey you Kevin, I see you watching the video, fuck you, and then just continue.
Sorry,
so everyone who's named Kevin basically just goes like, what the fuck?
No, you're just telling me you got Gregnant.
You missed the whole Greg thing, yeah, the Gregnant and the Gregs.
Yeah, because my dog decided to drink too fast Then he threw in his entire fucking stomach food up, like everything. Worse than last
If
time.
you give this dog a bowl of water, it will drink everything until it fucking pukes it. It's so fucking stupid. Like, how do you not know you're full? Like, what the fuck?
I'm not even, it's
Oh, blah,
smell
blah, blah.
like dry food mixed with food.
Oh god, that is
It just
awful.
smelled like that.
Long? Or there was
Yeah, it was worse than last time we were here when you puked.
Hey, good.
Because you drank water too much.
Wee
Oh my
wee.
gosh.
Anyone named Brittany got a free night
Wee
there.
wee. Wee 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 wee. Wee wee wee. Oh my god, Alpern, it's been a while. Holy shit, welcome back, I guess. What are you doing here? Wait, when was the last time you were? It was 2 years ago. You fucking 2 years ago. Oh my god.
Wait, who's fucking 2 years ago?
No one was fucking 2 years ago. This person. The last message. The last message. Okay, okay. Stop talking about fucking.
Kids born 2 years ago.
Alpern. The last message they sent was F, and that was like 2 years ago, and then it just disappeared. And then they're back now, I guess. Nice seeing you if you're still here. Or is it, but I just don't say anything. You know what? Touche.
Everyone.
Can you get a napping chat, guys?
It's just funny to me, like, you just say F and then you like just go away for like 3 years. And then you come back. Oh, sorry. Hey Siri, shut up.
Want me to?
Hey Siri, play Despacito.
You would be so funny if you just like said F and you just left and then now 2 years later I just come back like hi. I'm like, what the fuck? Oh, that's the thing I like to do. You go to this like, Alexa, buy 200 iPhones. There we go, you're welcome. Yeah, almost worked once. F, don't you dare appearing 2 years from now, you bitch. Come back here.
I've seen someone do the Xbox turn off an Xbox game chat and actually turn someone's Xbox off.
I saw a YouTuber that did that and he lost like a few viewers. It was funny. What are you guys doing on the ocean? Why the fuck are they inside the rock?
Because you can do that in the sea. As long as nobody else is around you, they get like a wet.
Hi? Is this the bedroom? Like what?
What?
It's a bedrock.
Is this the bedroom?
Yes, bedrock.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving. Swear to God, if one of you actually commits the joke and appears 2 years later, I will punch some people. The ocean is the ultimate bedroom. Alright, chat, I need to go. I need to leave now. I actually need to leave. So I need a raid victim. Yeah, I need to disassemble my PC.
Why are you leaving?
Because you guys are peeing in my pool. And that's not good. Not right now. That doesn't make it better.
Can't believe you're
I'm not currently peeing. What do you mean?
Mars has got pea eyes.
Pies? You mean pies?
Pies. Yeah.
You got pies? Oh, you're really bouncy, huh?
You're goddamn right.
I hate when you do that. Hate that so much. Break the P. Okay, so chat, if I break my PC glass, you guys own me one, okay?
No.
We will never see Snowy. Can you imagine this is actually my last stream? If I don't say anything in the next 3 business days, just unfollow me because I died. See you in 2 years. Fine, it's gonna take. Okay, you're gonna make people believe I'm gonna be gone, man. So, okay, I'm gonna recap. I'm gonna move Monday. So, I'm gonna start Monday at 8 AM. And then each day I have a stop in like I'm gonna stop in it's gonna be Spain, France, Germany, Denmark, and then Norway. So we have like one stop on each country basically. And I'm gonna arrive on the 4th. And why is that funny?
Don't stop in Spain. It's not worth it. Just move on.
I originally wanted to skip France. but like
Honestly,
it's too big.
understandable.
Like
Let's skip France.
do you know how much better like traveling in the EU would be if France just didn't exist? It's so much better.
Baguettes.
I can buy baguettes
They
here.
will never survive. That's amazing. Croissant.
You're not passing the crossing, right? You're going over.
I remember.
That mean?
Remember the
Still in the same state.
the asteroid that was gonna eat Earth, and like they were talking. NASA was talking about like ways of deflecting it, and the top comment was like a guy, "Can we deflect it into France?" I was like, "God damn it!" But yeah, chat. I'll arrive on the 4th, and then my birthday is on the 5th, and the 6th is when I'm gonna have everything completed. I'm probably gonna stream on the Tuesday after the 6th. I don't know when that is. I think it's the 12th or something. Whatever. We'll see. I'll ping everyone. I'm gonna ping every time I switch countries. I'm gonna I'm approaching your location, and then I'm gonna ping Spanish.
Don't forget the clocks go
I am
forward on
approaching
Sunday.
your location rapidly, and you have 0
Yeah.
seconds.
Chat, if
You
you
get 1 hour
if
less
you
than back
from
tonight
Spain, France, Germany, or Denmark, let me know. I'm just gonna be zooming. So if you have any tips or recommendations, yes, accept you.
Time changed like 3 weeks.
Wait, are you offering your tip?
Anyway, I'm going. I'm going.
There's a few people that are offering
Goodbye.
their tips, don't worry. I have a good tip.
We're gonna raid Pixie Pubs. I haven't raided her in a while, chat. We need a raid message.
Alright, I'm drinking it pouring.
You know what?
Message, don't pee in the pool.
The raid message can be the plunger. Just say the plunger. Don't explain. The plunger. Okay, chat. I will see you in a week. I'm gonna be like stressed about not streaming for a week, man. I'm gonna miss chat. Join Discord so I can annoy the fuck out of you, or follow like Twitter because I'm gonna post bullshit there. Say hi to Raccoon. I tried the Raccoon. I think it lives a little bit far. I don't know. We'll see. I want to see if I can find people on the way. Dox yourself, so I know where you live, and I'll pick you up. Goodbye, Chad. Love you.
I live near London.
Aww, Snowy kissed the child.